Going to the shops isn't everyone's bag. Like Toby here, he'd rather nurture his plants and get everything he needs to make dinner delivered by Tesco Whoosh, store to door from as little as 20 minutes.
Keep reaching for the sun, Arthur. You're growing so fast, little one. Blooming lovely, aren't you?
Carry on, Toby. Tesco Whoosh. Every little helps. These apply. Delivery times 20 to 60 minutes, selected areas. Whoosh specific pricing, see tesco.com/whoosh.
Wake up live on TalkSport with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
We're here at the Coral Fan Derby, where racing fans are ready to play Coral's Reward Shaker. Listen to that roar! What's this? They're all being rewarded. We've got the tweeters shaking their phones. They've won a £5 free bet. The Ford Fanatics backing those special offers for the Cheltenham Festival. Play Coral's free reward shaker to win free bets and offers this Saturday. Oh, that's rewarding. Coral, we're here for it.
18 plus, UK online only. Max 1 reward offer per player per day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Reward restrictions, requirements and T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org.
I've got that feeling. Yeah, butterflies in the stomach. Yeah. My heart is racing. I'm smiling for no reason at all. Yeah. I can't think about anything else.
Well, what's their name?
It's Skoda.
With 0% APR for 3 years across the Skoda range with Solutions PCP, it's love at first drive. But this love story ends March 1st, so visit skoda.co.uk. Indemnities may be required, maximum 36-month term, Skoda Finance.
It's the last chance to get yourself a ticket for Saturday's Lotto draw.
It could be you.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Imagine a place where you can escape for a day. Get immersed in a world of rooms, inspiration and expertise, where you can laze in luxury accommodation. And kids can feast from 95 pence. Tickets are free to everyone and include all the attractions. You just imagine a day out at IKEA. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Yorkshire tea, where everything is done proper. Yorkshire tea, where everything is done proper. Oh.
Maybe not.
Yorkshire tea, where everything's done properly. Yorkshire tea.
Right, enough of that. How about Yorkshire tea, where everything's done proper?
Love that feeling when a game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's a good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
On a windswept walk in Carmarthen, while someone tries to use your card details to hire a speedboat in Cannes. This is the moment that you relax, knowing that Barclays Advanced Tech has helped to spot the fraud in under a second, and their expert team are on hand to close it down. So you can get back to being windswept. Oh, just one of the ways we're protecting our customers 24/7. Search Barclays Fraud Protection. Barclays.
Seater or a prawn sandwich eater? A half-and-half scarf wearer or a lifelong faithful torchbearer? A retro shirt for a daily download every morning from 6 on TalkSport with Coral. We're here for the fans. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
It's a standout Saturday night of live and lucid FA Cup football on TalkSport. Liverpool go up against Brighton. Build-up begins at 7:45. With spine-tingling live commentary from 8. It's an edge of your seat Saturday night of live FA Cup football on TalkSport.
Well, Chelsea have progressed from all 8 of their previous FA Cup ties against Hull City. That equals the best record in the tournament's history. So we could get a small slice of history tonight if the Tigers can take their fantastic league form into a very big cup tie. It's live here on TalkSport from 7:45. And one man who'll know all about their chances this evening is Hull's assistant manager, Dean Holden. I caught up with him just before we came on air and asked him what it was like being Steven Gerrard's assistant at Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, fantastic experience, I have to say, working alongside one of Britain's or one of the world's greatest footballers, spending nearly a year inside his mind as his assistant was incredible learning for me. Tactically, I learned so much, and the way that he puts his teams together and the cultures he tries to drive. So had a fantastic time, went out to Turkey and worked in the top league over there and had some all the big clubs with Besiktas, etc. And yeah, wanted to come back to England, wanted to come back to at least the Championship, and this job came around. Met with the club, met with the manager, and it felt like a good opportunity.
Tell us about Sergei Yakirovich. What's it been like working with him? Of course, he's got plenty of experience in Turkey as well.
Yeah, we actually came up against each other last season. And went so I had to stand strong. I was trying to get the club photographer to get a photo. It would have been brilliant, but apparently there's none that exist. But he actually, joking aside, when I spoke to him in the summer, he actually, him and his staff liked, I think, the idea that I'd gone there. The club I went to was on minus 22 points when I went to Turkey, and I just thought I'm going to go and challenge myself and try and get some more tools in this toolbox of what you need in coaching and leadership. And yeah, they liked the idea that I'd gone to a club that was struggling and was prepared to stand up to them Croatian lads. So it's been great working alongside him. Very, very black and white in terms of his honesty with the players. He speaks the players' language. He doesn't try to complicate things. He keeps things really simple, and the players are really understanding of exactly what he wants with and without the ball, and I think that's obviously the reason that we've had such a good season.
Yeah, it has been a fantastic season. It's been one of the, I guess, interesting cards to be dealt. Hull City this season, staying up on the final day last year, of course not being able to spend money on players during the summer, and yet everything has come together so well. Are you almost surprised by how well things have gone?
Well, part of the reason of coming to the club was the fact that we were going to have a real goal, and 3 days into pre-season, probably a week or so after I joined, we got the transfer embargo, which nobody knew, nobody saw coming, the owner, the manager, nobody. So we had to rethink the situation. I have to say the club have recruited fantastic over 2 transfer windows and got us players who are ready-made, players who have been there, done it. There's a fantastic spirit within the dressing room, almost a little bit of a throwback, I would say, with some of the seniors that we've got in terms of the culture that they drive, and that's not a bad thing either. They bring them standards every day. Some really good young players, and as I say, it's been a little bit horses for courses this season in terms of the way that we've played. We don't play the same style every week. We'll mix it up, we'll change systems, and yeah, it's worked up to now. We're really excited about the game tonight. Obviously the players testing themselves against world-class opposition is always a good thing for a player.
What's the message then ahead of tonight from the coaching staff to the players? A big challenge of Chelsea in front of you.
Yeah, first of all is to go and implement the game plan that we've worked on this week. We've had a really good week. We've had a free week, so to speak, that you don't get too often in the Championship with all the midweek games. So we've had enough time to prepare for this game. We want the players to go out there, grasp the opportunity, play the game, not the occasion. That's what we've done all season. We've not allowed things, whether it's outside pressure starting to come in now where we are. We've gone a long time this season with no one talking about us, and all of a sudden, last couple of weeks, just felt it ramming home a little bit. So there's a little bit of pressure tonight in terms of the occasion, but we want the players to go out. We want them to go and enjoy the football, which again is what they've tried to do this season. We've been the entertainers in the division. We've scored, I think, third top most goals, but we've conceded far too many as well for our liking, although we have tightened up recently. So we want them to go out, play our style. I saw Keith last night talking, Keith Andrews, before the Brentford Arsenal game, about trying to turn it into a game that they wanted to see and make it a little bit chaotic, and that'll be the plan from us.
Well, great to speak to Hull's assistant manager, Dean Holden. He says they've given up a number of chances, but looking at the shooting drill that Chelsea's forwards have just been doing beneath us, I don't think you'll have to worry too much tonight. They barely hit the target.
I was literally just thinking that same thing.
We'll see how Hull get on a little bit later and if they can pull off a memorable shock this evening. There would be no shock in store at the racecourse ground if Wrexham were to beat Ipswich in the other FA Cup 4th round tie tonight. Very good tie. The Welsh side in
show that wins it every morning.
Starring Wing Commander Flaps McCoist,
Navigator Jeff Scramble Stelling, Mid-Gunner Gabby Agbom Lahore, Wireless Operator Alan Bone Dome Brazil.
It's 6 Beer Squadron,
And Tail End Charlie Ray Party Parlor.
Oh yeah.
The Superstars Super Fortress Breakfast chalks away.
Monday morning from 6 o'clock on TalkSport.
The football animal is alive. Kickoff live on TalkSport.
Bit of a hit and hope by Paddy McNair. He's just raced in like an express train and he's taken it perfectly. They've got one back. Kumas firing home in the area.
Miller pinches the ball. He has one little look up. He chops the ball onto his left foot, fires it low into the bottom corner.
Low ball in towards Delap. He's tucked it in.
It might break for Garnacho.
It's James. Oh, it is magnificent.
Estevao. Oh, how's he squeezed that in? Neto's been played down the inside left position and he smashed it in at the near post.
The FA Cup fourth round gets underway on TalkSport tonight with a half-decent chance of an upset. Hull City have been loving life in the second tier. They're right in the hunt for automatic promotion, which means they've got plenty of appetite for a long cup run. They all hope they haven't bitten off more.
Bit more support, but it's going to be a big ask tonight, absolutely is. But I think then when you look at that front three, it excites me. There's a lot of pace, there's a lot of youth, a lot of excitement and creativity, so I think that they'll fully expect that. They'll have practiced it in training. It'll be more mentally tiring than physical tonight with regards to just being switched on and staying patient and then waiting for the opportunity to try and hit Chelsea on the counter-attack, create a set piece. They'll have their moments.
Do you try and play Chelsea at their own game, or do you try and make this more of a championship contest? Maybe rough a bit. Yes, there's some experience in that Chelsea team. There's some youngsters too, players making their first appearance. Do you try and introduce them to English football in the nicest, politest possible way?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If that's me playing, and when you're coming up against players that, let's be honest, are better than you, you've got to try and make the game ugly somehow. Chelsea are a team that absolutely they'll be up for a fight, but they probably want to get the ball down and play attractive football. And if you can try and stop momentum as much as you possibly can, the clever arts in football, whatever it takes to win, and that's what Hull will try and do tonight here at this stadium. But on the flip side as well, they're a team that are doing well. They're a team that play good football, so they'll also want to continue with their philosophy and what they believe in as well.
There's a huge Chelsea contingent behind the goal away to our left-hand side. Flames are being shot into the air, which will be great for the fans on that side because I'm sure they're getting warmed up right now. Very chilly evening at the MKM. The Chelsea fans that have made their way here, they are expectant. It is a very big football club. They know that they probably won't win the Champions League this season, albeit, of course, they'll want to go out, and they've surprised us before in that competition. But when you look at the FA Cup and their record in it, is this a competition they have to go all out for?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, 8 times they've won it. And a new manager who'll want to absolutely try and get his hands on early silverware as soon as they possibly can. And let's be honest, this is a game that you expect them to go and progress through.
The two sets of players making their way out onto the pitch here at the MKM. Big evening for the Tigers in front of a full house. This the first of 10 live FA Cup fourth round commentaries on the TalkSport network. We'll take in the likes of Anfield, Villa Park, the Emirates, St Andrews and Moss Rose, the home of Macclesfield FC, on what could well be another special weekend in the greatest cup competition in the world. But here, Championship side Hull go for their first ever FA Cup win over Chelsea and their first win of any description over the Londoners for 38 years, in the company of the former England striker Natasha Dowie and TalkSport's Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Hugh. And a very good evening to you from the East Riding of Yorkshire for a tie that Chelsea might regard as a good omen. The last 3 occasions they've been drawn against Hull City in the Cup, they've gone on to reach the final. But a tie away to the Tigers looks a slightly taller hurdle now than it has in the past, because this is a team in rude health, 4th in the Championship, only 5 points off an automatic promotion place, and they've rediscovered how to win at home. Having only stayed in the Championship on goal difference last season, thanks to a last day draw, they're now looking to lead the division by the front door. And if eyebrows were raised when Sergei Yakirovich took over, his appointment looks like an inspired piece of business now. But Chelsea's boss will know everything that there is to know about them. Hull City, a club that is in Liam Rosenior's blood. His late grandmother, a season ticket holder long before he signed as a player, and then his 2 seasons at the helm came after that. In his playing days, he was part of Hull's finest hour when they dared to dream at 2-0 up in the FA Cup final. Tonight he's hoping that he's not part of another important paragraph or two of Tigers history. This is how the 2 teams line up. Hull have the recalled Dylan Phillips in goal. He's played in the League Cup and FA Cup ties so far this season. McNair, Egan and McCarthy the back 3. Coyle, Slater, Hadjiametovic and Giles. And then Hirakawa, Kumas and Miller, the front 3. Sanchez in goal for Chelsea. James, Fofana, Sarr and Harto. Andre Santos and Caicedo. Neto, Estevao and Garnacho. And Delap up front. On the benches for Hull: Lundstrom, Jacob, Drame, Gelhardt, Joseph, Famewo, Dowell, Tinsdale and Pandur. And for Chelsea, Adarabioyo, Badiashile, Fernandez, Joao Pedro, Gusto, Achiampong, Derry Mahuka and Teddy Sharman Lowe. Well, Chelsea have turned Hull round and they will be kicking from left to right in the first half. Kicking towards the south stand away to our right-hand side. They break away from their huddle, which was over the ball on the centre circle. And the Hull players still in their huddle away to our right-hand side in their amber shirts with the black trim. Referee tonight, Farai Halam, who recently made his debut as a Premier League referee. And you'll remember that in that debut he was asked to go and have a look at the VAR, or by the VAR, at the monitor. And he stuck with his on-field decision, which drew acclaim. No VAR for him to have to worry about tonight. It will be Hull that will get us underway. Kicking from right to left. 8 wins in their last 13 games, taking on a Chelsea side who've won 7 out of 10 so far under Liam Rosenior. So we're underway. FA Cup 4th round weekend. 32 teams left in it, 20 of them playing live on the TalkSport network over the next 3 days. Hull launching it from the kickoff, long from the goalkeeper, 4 towards the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, where they then win a throw. It's taken down the line towards Hirakawa, played in by him, headed away by Sarr on the edge of the penalty area. Missed kick from McCarthy, perhaps belying some signs of early nerves. He has started off playing on the left of 3 centre-halves as we anticipated. He's found his goalkeeper at the second attempt, who booms it forward. It comes off Hirakawa and then into Harto and out of play for a throw. Going to be taken on the Hull City right. Getting a good feel of the ball in the early stages, Tash.
Yeah, you can see as well they're trying to make up a lot of ground, not afraid to go direct and try and then win throw-ins high up in Chelsea's territory early on in this game.
There is McCarthy, who's a much more assured touchman in that time. Played down the left-hand touchline. He's looking for Liam Miller, who started on the left of the front 3 with Lewis Kumas going through the middle. Back for McCarthy again. And McCarthy turning it back for his goalkeeper, Dylan Phillips, who signed from Rotherham. And had time at Charlton earlier in his career. Phillips is clipping it down to the left-hand side for Ryan Giles. Neat control from him. And Miller asked to try and spin to get on the ball in behind Fofana. Comes through for Kumas. Flag has stayed down. Kumas inside the penalty area, just trying to dink it in for Hirakawa. It's cleared. Back in from Giles. Good delivery towards the far post. And Sanchez, under a little bit of pressure on his line, can catch it after it came off a Chelsea head. Good start here from the Tigers through the opening couple of minutes at 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the fullbacks for Hull have loads of space, especially Giles down this left-hand side here. And then you can see absolutely why Kumas is playing tonight. The pace of him. You didn't fancy him there. You thought the centre-half for Chelsea had a couple of yards on him, but he got on the end of it, and I would have loved to have seen a little bit more conviction from him. Don't really feel like 1v1 he believed in himself enough. Half a yard, can he get a shot off? But he didn't in the end. But a good start by Hull.
Choice of listening on the TalkSport network again tonight here on TalkSport. Hull against Chelsea to a conclusion with the potential for extra time and penalties if necessary. And over on TalkSport 2, it's WSL action with Manchester City now leading by 3 goals to 0 in their game against Leicester. Sanchez, the ball at his feet inside the penalty area. 11 clean sheets for him this season. Just exchanging a couple of passes with Fofana. Before clipping it through the midfield towards Estevao. Neto comes to meet it. Dispenses with the ball with the early touch out to the left for Garnacho. So Garnacho at the moment playing on the left. Estevao is on the right. It's Pedro Neto who's playing in the number 10 role in these early stages. Here's Reece James, a very rare domestic cup tie for him. It's only the 3rd tie that he's played in either the FA Cup or the League Cup in the last 46 months. He's only played 45 minutes of FA Cup action since the 2022 final before tonight. Recalled to the team, and he's in possession now at right back for Chelsea. He's rolling it forward towards Estevao. He takes it neatly, turns it away from the Canadian Liam Miller. Played through the centre circle by Andre Santos. Pedro Neto pops it off to his left. Caicedo getting it forward quickly. The bleached blonde hair of Garnacho visible over on the far touchline as he picks up possession. Andre Santos now worked into the feet again of Jarell Harto. Chelsea stringing the passes together with ease at the moment. Neat passing triangles from them. Liam Delat coming back to meet it as it looked as though John Egan had got it away. Little reverse inside the penalty area. Estevao is there first. He's just forced a little bit wider than he wanted to go by Ryan Giles, who's followed him all the way in from left wing back. He's now playing over on the right hand side for a moment. Pulled out of position. Chelsea again working it through the box. Garnacho's ball and then a bleak angle. A roll back outside the penalty area, but fielded by Pedro Neto. Hull struggling to get a kick in the last couple of minutes. Neto with a nice turn and a rising drive that didn't clear the bar by much.
Yeah, it's a nice patient play there by Chelsea, and this is what Hull can't afford to do. You know, initially I thought the press was quite good. It was kind of a mid-block press, but the longer Chelsea had possession, they got deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where all 11 of Hull's players were pretty much back in their own half, and you can't allow that. You have to get some sort of pressure on. The players are too good for Chelsea, and Neto gets that half a yard and probably should do better, at least hit the target there, but early warning signs, and Hull need to somehow try and get some pressure higher up on the pitch.
Not the first FA Cup tie between these two by any stretch of the imagination. They last met at this stage 6 years ago. Chelsea run close by Hull on that occasion, for whom Kamil Grzycki scored, but Batshuayi and Tamori gave Chelsea the win. 2-1 victory here. They also played in the 5th round 8 years ago. In fact, these sides have been drawn together on 8 previous occasions, and Chelsea have progressed every single time. Hull hoping to make a little bit of club history tonight, and they might be able to do so as they break the ball forward here from this first corner. Will be taken over on the Hull City right. 6 minutes gone on TalkSport at 0-0.
Yeah, it's great play there by Kumas. You know, he's going to have a handful today in a battle. You know, he's still so young, only 20 years of age. But what I love about that is, you know, it's messy, but he wins the throne for his team. He scraps. He doesn't mind having a little bit of a go there. And then this is a massive opportunity now for Hull, one that they would have been looking for.
So first corner of the night, and it'll be taken on the Hull right-hand side. Kumas making a run in towards the near post. It's cleared past him. Delap headed it away. Foul on the edge of the penalty area for Slater. His right-footed effort is blocked, and he goes out of play over on the far side for a throw. There was a lot made in the League Cup when Antoine Semenyo was able to play for a second different club in the competition. But Hull have got 2 in the starting lineup tonight who've already played in the FA Cup for somebody else. Kumas being one of them. He played for Birmingham in round 3. Blues in action, having won that tie at Cambridge under Leeds at 12 o'clock Sunday lunchtime, and we will be at St Andrews for that. Yu Hirakawa is the other. He played for Bristol City in the 3rd round, but plays for Hull in the 4th round. The ball is chipped in his general direction on the right-hand side of the Hull front 3, but Chelsea can mop up. They'll go back to Fofana. And now to Mamadou Sarr, who they signed from Strasbourg in the summer at a £12 million deal. He was immediately loaned back. Had a decent first half of the season, where he played under Rossigna. And when Rossigna made the switch from Strasbourg to Chelsea, he immediately recalled Sarr. He's a player that he knows clearly all about. And he's making his Chelsea debut tonight on the left of the 2 centre-halves. Sanchez walks the ball out of the penalty area and then chips it down towards Harto. Back now for Sarr. A little bit taller than Fofana, the man he's playing alongside. Fofana's got it now to James. Worked into the feet of Caicedo. Sanchez lets it run across his body to Sarr, back to Sanchez again. Is this passing for passing's sake at the moment? And they just try to draw a Hull press that doesn't look as though it's ever going to come.
Yeah, absolutely that. I think Hull are very comfortable right now with that back 5 full-backs nice and high, 2 holding. They look really comfortable. This is where, though, they can't lose possession.
And they have done it. It was McCarthy, and the ball is played in towards Garnacho inside the penalty area. Tight angle, well saved. Neto tried to tap it in, and that was blocked. Good goalkeeping from Dylan Phillips, because Chelsea, having turned over possession with Esteban winning it back from McCarthy, hit a lovely diagonal out towards Garnacho, who's away. Clean pair of heels shown to Paddy McNair inside the penalty area. Phillips making a really good save, and then an excellent block came in. I think it was from Egan to stop Pedro Neto being able to tap the ball past the goalkeeper into the net, but that was a let-off for Hull.
Yeah, absolutely was, and that just shows split second of switching off and losing, the ball in the areas that you don't want to. They're almost cheating, the Chelsea wide players, probably not doing the defensive work that they need to do, but then those are the moments then that actually when Hull turn it over, they're away, and probably Garnacho should score there.
Just coming up to half-time in the WSL, no surprise that Manchester City are running right tonight. They're 4-0 up now against Leicester. That is top against bottom, and City will be 11 points clear at the end of the night if they hold on there, although Manchester United in second beneath them will have a game in hand. Leicester cut adrift at the bottom of the table. 4-0 it is live for you over on TalkSport 2 right now. And Chelsea in possession inside Hull territory with Jurel Harto, who was the Eredivisie Talent of the Year last year, for making his move to Chelsea. Caicedo and Andre Santos exchanging passes, then it goes into the feet of Neto and back again. Now to Fofana. Fofana to Reece James. Faced up by Miller. Just lays it down to the Chelsea right-hand side for Esteval. Esteval working it back. Hull just dropping off almost deferentially at the moment at times, very much in a back 5 when Chelsea bring the ball forward. They do it out towards Garnacho. And Garnacho, Andre Santos stepping away from the challenge of Hadjiametovic. Good ball over the top. It's Esteban inside the penalty area. A little backheel flick from him. He knew he couldn't get a shot and he tried to play in Neto, and Slater won it and came back, and he will bring it away and get it out now towards Kumas. Kumas for Hirakawa, who drops his shoulder and waltzes his way around Santos. Now it's played out to the Hull left, and Ryan Giles will bring it forward to Liam Miller. Giles making a run outside him, but Miller couldn't find him with a poor pass. And Chelsea, they've lost it. Miller crossed the face of the 6-yard box, and Kumas couldn't tap it in. What a chance that was. Great play by Miller, who didn't give up on the lost cause. Fired it through the 6-yard box. Kumas will be really disappointed that he didn't get clean contact there. And it's Chelsea's turn to survive.
I mean, I'm not too sure how Kumas didn't score that, to be honest. I thought it was a really poor ball initially by Miller, but credit to him. He reacted really well and created a clear-cut chance for Kumas. It was actually good defending by Chelsea. They got the block on the line there, but I think Kumas, I know how hard he works on his finishing. He works on it day in, day out. I think he almost looked a bit surprised that the ball came to him, the chance came to him, and I think he should do better there on his left foot, only 5 yards out.
just caught flat on his heels, if anything. I don't think anybody anticipated that Miller was going to be able to drag that one back. Well, he looked barely third favourite of the players that were going through it at one stage. How significant will that be at the end of the night? A decent chance, really good chance at either end of the field through the opening 12 goalless minutes here.
I also think that shows why there's only been 2 clean sheets, under Liam Rosenior with regards to the change of the back four and, another new partnership, 2 centre-halves coming in there. That just shows switching off. Fofana, didn't play last game, has come back in today, but that was poor defending by him, and you can't afford to give whole chances like that because they will take them.
Garnacho's got the better of Hirakawa. Ball inside the penalty area is deflected away from Delap. Comes back out for Pedro Neto. And Reece James making a run outside him down the right-hand side of the box. And Neto plays it back. Now it's fed out towards James. James doesn't fancy his chances of taking on Giles, so he's just played it back. The deepest of Chelsea's outfield players is in possession now. But that is Fofana, and he's still 15 yards in Hull territory. Hull trying to soak it up and have been able to get it out now towards Miller. Clipped for by Hadjimetovic and brought under control by Kumas, who's on loan from Liverpool, son, of course, of Jason Kumas, who had a wonderful career and some moments in the FA Cup as well. He was part of the Tranmere side that won at Everton convincingly, probably the thick end of 25 years ago now, which really makes me feel old. Here's Sarr to Fofana, to Reece James, with the blonde-haired Delap, so familiar to Hull supporters as well, making a run down the inside right channel. But Chelsea take a much more conservative route, working it back inside their own half rather than trying to play him in. Big night for Liam Delap, who's scored 3 goals for Chelsea since his move to the club. One in the Club World Championship, one against Barcelona, but only one in the Premier League. In familiar environs against Championship opposition, he'll be hoping that he'll be able to improve that record tonight, but Chelsea haven't been able to get the ball into him so far with 13 minutes gone.
Yeah, and I think as a number 9, when you are playing against a back 5, these kind of games can be frustrating, but it's about being patient and making sure you trust your teammates to find you. He's made a couple of good runs down the channel and he hasn't been found, but also that's why it's really important for his midfield players and partners to make those third man runs, to actually try and create a little bit more space for him to drop into.
And now they'll try and find him with the ball over the top. But the wily John Egan was back to head of the way, and then Hirakawa got himself in front of Hato, and there was a push. Hirakawa fouled, and free kick will be taken by Hull inside their own half. One other FA Cup 4th round tie taking place tonight. It's Wrexham reserves against Ipswich's second team. Here's Steve Hothersall.
Yeah, goalless here. Wrexham 0, Ipswich 0. Strong start from the home side. Could have been in front in the first minute. Poor headed clearance from the Ipswich keeper. Windass couldn't capitalise. Ipswich soon had a foothold in this game. 2 big opportunities for Hurst, but he's just not made them pay. Good open game this. Wrexham 0, Ipswich 0.
Thank you, Steve. Don't laugh at them. You'll only encourage me. It's a free kick which will be taken by Phillips for Hull. He's 10 yards inside his own half. And he's hit a long ball forward here, looking for Egan. It's sailed over his shoulder. He's going to be able to keep it in, though. That's an excellent piece of play. Good persistence. Lays it back for Giles. The dark-haired former Wolves left wing-back. Ball inside the penalty area from him. And he took a little touch off Kumas. And then coming to meet it, I think it was it was McCarthy, in fact, who stepped forward from the back, got his head to it, but he had to try and deal with the bounce of the ball, and he couldn't hit the target with it. But they're creating a succession of half chances, Hull.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And, we're talking first 15 minutes, they've already created a couple of really clean chances, and Giles is finding himself in acres of space down this left-hand side. And what I love about him is half a yard, he's whipping balls into dangerous areas because he knows he's going to have willing runners like Kumas. And then, like you said there, it's a half chance really, probably couldn't do much more with it, but it is a half chance and they're looking a real threat.
You're listening to the FA Cup on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Price may vary. Here's Esteval. He's round the goalkeeper and he's missed. As the ball was played in, all of a sudden he burst through the middle. And he drew Dylan Phillips, flicked it past him. It was on his left foot, and he's maybe just leaning back as he hit it. But he will be amazed he's not hit the target. Had he hit the target, it was 1-0 to Chelsea.
Had he has to. He absolutely has to. It's a direct ball. It's poor by Hull with the back 5 there. They just switch off. They're flat-footed, but it's a great timed run by Estevao. He goes round the keeper, he does everything right. All he has to do is put it into the back of the net, and he leans back. I think it's one of those where he thinks he's scored before he has, and that should be 1-0 to Chelsea.
I mean, it was an astonishing miss. Done all the hard work, got himself in a great position, had completely taken Phillips out of the picture, and he'll be reliving that in his mind for a while as the snow begins to come down. Real blizzard falling. It's started very quickly and coming down with some ferocity here in East Yorkshire. Chelsea win a free kick on halfway. 0-0 the score, 17 minutes gone. It's not going to be 0-0 for long on the strength of what we've seen so far.
Yes, I think it's been a great first 17 minutes. You know, both teams having early chances and both teams playing the right way. Quite an open game. You know, Chelsea, yes, absolutely dominating possession and playing a bit more patient. Hull aren't afraid to go direct. But yeah, like I said, good quality from both teams. Just missing that little bit in the final third with regards to shots on target.
Garnacho coming into the middle, taking 2 or 3 on, eventually losing out, and then Hull squeeze it through towards Miller. Miller gets it and plays it down towards Giles. Chelsea have got a player down, injured upfield. Giles has still got possession. Walks it back inside his own half for a moment. Garnacho's okay. He's back on his feet. He's rubbing the back of his head. And he's moving a little bit gingerly back towards halfway. Giles, back to Egan. John Egan, plenty of FA Cup experience. He reached the semi-finals with Sheffield United a couple of years back. And he's played the ball out towards the far touchline where it's put out by Garnacho, who thought that it should be a Chelsea throw. It has been given the other way. And Paddy McNair just rolls it down the line for it to be taken by COYI, his captain. Back towards McNair, who recently arrived and made his debut against Bristol City last week. Been playing out in the States for San Diego. Now McCarthy, the young Irishman, clipping it forward, only the second senior start of his career in English football. He had a few in Ireland. Ball goes back for Sanchez at the other end, and he can walk it forward. Just a little bit of a lull as the players try and get to grips with the sudden horrendous weather that they are having to play their trade in down in front of us. Ball goes out to the Chelsea left. Back for Andre Santos. Santos controlling it. Back behind square for Caicedo, who brings it through the centre circle, clipping it forward. Garnacho trying to make a run and get behind COYI. Couldn't do so. Back it will come from Chelsea, winning the second ball in the midfield with Neto. Neto passed the first challenge, and then Slater's had a really good start of the game. And he's been able to work it back to his goalkeeper. Phillips will clear, and the referee puts whistle to mouth. He's spotted an infringement, and he's just wants a word with Pedro Neto and Regan Slater for something that's happened in there. But it's going to be a free kick to Hull.
Yeah, I think Hull will be really happy with how they played this first 20 minutes. Now, I've been really impressed actually with the partnership, especially down this left-hand side with Hull, with the likes of Giles, Kumas and Miller. I think the kind of combinations, you know, and this being Kumas' debut as well, it's like he's played for the club a lot longer than that. You know, when he comes to feet, Miller's running in behind and vice versa, and they've really worked the triangle nicely down this left-hand side, and it's causing Chelsea a lot of problems.
High ball play forward by Phillips, straight through the middle. He's looking for Kumas. Neither Kumas nor Estevao will quite have got the grips with their own poor finish in front of goal. It really should be 1-1. It could be even more prolific than that, the opening 20 minutes. Now, Andre Santos has it again. Plays it out towards Garnacho. Garnacho through the midfield. Here is Estevao, and it's deflected behind Reece James. In fact, it didn't take a deflection. It's just a poor pass from Estevao straight out for a throw that will be taken on the Hull left. Maybe affected by that moment that he had 4 or 5 minutes or so ago. Phillips under pressure here from Delap, and it's off the underside of the bar. And then the second attempt, can he score? No, he can't. Well, Phillips cleared it into Delap, and he wheeled away in celebration. But the ball hit the bar, didn't fall over the line. Then by the time he reacted and got there, the angle was tight, and he couldn't take a second touch to whack it into the net. This has been a bizarre masterclass in how not to finish in front of goal.
To be honest, Jim, I'm not surprised. I was watching the warm-up and the finishing, and Delap, I don't think he scored one goal. He looks so low in confidence at the moment, and that just sums it up.
Garnacho's ball in. Delap goes down inside the penalty area. He's waved up by the referee. It was a poor clearance though. And he's only fallen outside the box for Caicedo. I mean, he made the chance himself, don't get me wrong, because he very quickly went after Phillips when the ball was played into the Hull goalkeeper's feet. But Phillips just whacked it at him. There was nothing Delap could do to get out of the way. He couldn't steer it or anything. But he was just convinced it had gone in and he misjudged it. It dipped back off the bar. Here's Hirakawa. He's found his way forward. He then found Andre Santos between him and goal. Kumas will try and take over. The referee said no real advantage, and he's given a free kick to Hull 2 yards outside the box, over by the right-hand side of the penalty area.
Yeah, look, I just need to go back to that chance though, Jim. Because I'm fine with the first part because he's created it, like you said, but it's the second part. There's no intensity about his play. He gets the ball, he can put it in the back of the net, he takes another touch, then the keeper can scramble it. That to me is a player, number 9, that's really low in confidence. No real conviction behind it, and I think that's what's disappointed me the most. This is his opportunity today. He's got his start, he has to do better there.
8 without a goal. He's only netted in one of his last 15 games. There's Liam Delap. There was a goal that came against Fulham. And playing like a man short of confidence in that particular moment. I do think he's a fine player. And I thought when Chelsea got him for the fee that they paid for him, it was a really good bit of business. What can Hull manage from this free kick then? As the snow swirls around. 3 in the Chelsea wall. And it is bent in, left-footed. Sanchez beats it away. Dive to his right-hand side, got it clear to deny Giles. And then Kumas can't find a way through. Delap's done well, having won it back, pokes it down the line for Estevao. And Estevao will hit an early right-footed ball through the midfield. And chasing after it is Garnacho. Neto left it for him, and Garnacho has it. And will try and take on Hirakawa, who's gone shoulder to shoulder with him and has won it back cleanly. And then Hirakawa gets it, whacks it for Miller chasing after that. But Sarr is quick, and he has been able to get in between the Hull man and the ball and finds Rob Sanchez.
I mean, it's a great game, isn't it? It's so open, it's end to end. You attack, then you attack. I think actually probably one of the teams, and probably more so Hull, just need to regroup a little bit. Because Chelsea do have the quality to really hurt you there, and they've done that. They've regrouped quite quickly back into that back five, but it's great the way that both teams are going at this, both looking to score, both really showing real threats in the front line.
0-0, and no one knows how. 3 extraordinary misses, all for differing reasons. Chelsea have it now. Pedro Neto playing it out towards Reece James, curving it inside the penalty area. It's caught by Phillips, who then will race to the edge of the box and bowl it out. Hadji Ahmetovic trying to look early for Hirakawa down the right, but it's gone straight out for a Chelsea throw. Their home form has improved. It's been pretty dismal over the last couple of years, Hull. They only won 13 league games in the last 2 seasons combined. They've won 8 this time around, although it has dropped off recently. They've only won 1 of the last 5, and Bristol City came from behind to beat them here last weekend. That was the day of the squirrel, which you may well have seen. I'll tell you something, the squirrel is not coming out in this. Delap tries to head it back towards the edge of the Hull box, and it's a return by McNair to his goalkeeper Phillips, who swirls the ball out towards the right and literally comes down with snow on it. McNair then playing it forward, headed back by Santos in the midfield. Turned by Slater, back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Delap was there first. Egan can clear. Chelsea still able to bring it down inside Hull territory. It looked for a moment as though Kumas was going to be able to take a touch to get it away and maybe break back into Chelsea territory. But the Blues have got their foot on it again with Fofana. Caicedo did really well under pressure to ride the challenge and poke the ball to his right-hand side for Reece James. Fofana bringing it forward again. 26 minutes of race by here. Hull 0, Chelsea 0. Still goalless between Wrexham and Ipswich, and we'll be back there very shortly. As Sarr brings it forward into just the edge of the centre circle. And it turns around, he's got Caicedo waiting for the pass in the Hull half of that centre circle. Now played down towards James. Hull regimented, not really putting too much pressure on the man in possession, just shuffling across, very disciplined, rather than pressing with any intensity and allowing Chelsea relatively easy possession. Now as they try and get it between the lines that they will engage. And Hadjimetovic did well, stuck a foot in when he needed to, and Hull end up winning a throw.
Yeah, I think Chelsea look a real threat when Hull are looking to attack and maybe a little bit more vulnerable all at the back and push their wing-backs. But I think Chelsea have to do better when Hull are sitting in that back four, the kind of 4-5-1, 5-4-1 at times. It's too slow. You know, like I said, you have to have third-man runs, making those unselfish runs to create more space in between the channels. It's too easy for Hull with regards to the way that they're playing.
75-25 the possession in Chelsea's favour so far, but the shot count 5-4 to Hull, and the ball is over on the Chelsea left, and Hato heads it away from Hirakawa and out for a throw that will be taken by the Tigers. 48 previous matches between these two sides. Hull have won only 4, the last of those back in 1988. In fact, they've only beaten Chelsea once in the last 35 meetings.
Great year when I was born.
Oh. Honestly, I was struggling through GCSEs in 1988.
Were they around? Was it not O levels?
No, I was the first year. I was the first year of GCSEs when no one knew what was going on. But that was my excuse anyway. Here's Sarr getting the ball forward, out to the left. That really was a miserable summer. No offence. The ball with Chelsea, 10 yards inside their own half. Just play forward towards Garnacho. Oh, it's a strong challenge on Garnacho. Fair one though from Slater, and he'll be able to get it out towards Hirakawa. Hirakawa just coming in off the right-hand touchline. They're waiting for the run outside of McCoyle. Swept in deep over Miller's head. Giles will chase after. He's going to be able to keep it in. It's Manchester City go 5-0 up in our WSL game over on TalkSport 2. Slater trying to drive forward again. Caicedo there, got in between the Hull man and the ball inside the penalty area. The clearance brought down well by Miller. That was a lovely touch. Did well to kill it. Giles tried to play it back to him, but it was a difficult high-tariff attempt at a pass, and Chelsea could cut that out. Delap then loses out in the midfield to Slater again. And McNair will go back for Phillips, who then just opens up the body and side-foots it out past Delap, and that's allowed McNair to turn and play the way that he's facing. Now they look forward for the run from Kumas. Kumas trying to get in, might be able to do so. He's in the penalty area. The whistle's gone. There's a shove on for Fafana as he tried to barrel his way through. It's a free kick to Chelsea, 0-0.
I mean, Kumas absolutely has the pace of the two centre-halves there, and he's making some great runs, some really intelligent runs off the back shoulder. And to be fair, I thought that was a little bit soft. But I also want to just highlight the matchup between the likes of Slater and Garnacho. I spoke to Hugh before the game and he said, what do you think their game plan will be? Maybe to kind of go at them a bit and be a bit rougher. They're absolutely doing that. And Garnacho at the moment isn't fancying it. Every single time he gets it is on the floor.
He's just trotting out towards the left-hand touchline now. And Chelsea worked it into a more central position. Fafana has seen a fair bit of it in these early stages. A lot of it where he is now, about 5-6 yards in Hull territory. And so much of the game has been concentrated in their half of the field. And Chelsea kicking from left to right, away from the travelling support, away to our left-hand side. It has been a sellout for a few weeks, this particular game. And plenty of credit to the Chelsea supporters who've travelled in their thousands up from London for a Friday night fixture. Here's Garnacho. Garnacho back to Caicedo. Garnacho again. Sarr will take over inside his own half. And now an opportunity for Andre Santos. He just showed it to Slater, flicked it past him, goes out towards Garnacho. Garnacho up against Coyle. Quick change of direction, does well, gets the ball in, looking for Delap. John Egan was there with him, and Egan beats him to it, goes out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick that will be taken by Dylan Phillips, who played 31 minutes, and it's 0-0. Any side of the goal with you in Wrexham, Steve Hothersall?
No, 30 minutes on the clock. Wrexham 0, Ipswich 0. The Ipswich keeper Palmer saved really well from a vicious 25-yard strike from Windass. It was a moment which actually propelled Wrexham onto a period of sustained pressure, but it's come to nothing as yet. Dan Neil looking decent on his Ipswich debut. Wrexham 0, Ipswich 0.
You're listening to the FA Cup on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, and price may vary. Kumas trying to turn and has won a free kick. About 10-12 yards in Chelsea territory. He's been quite lively. I think it was a mixed bag of a loan spell that he had at Birmingham City, but he's looked pretty lively tonight.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and I think that's what you're going to get from Kumas. He's going to be a willing runner all the time. He'll scrap, but you give him half a yard, he's going to hurt you as well. There's a lovely when he was with the under-21s at Liverpool, and I was involved with the academy, and after the training you'd see him time and time again, always on his own, practicing his finishing, left foot, right foot, on his own, empty net, and it just shows, he's a real prolific goal scorer.
Free kick taken, bent inside the penalty area. Delap waved the right foot and it couldn't get it away. It falls for McNair. He'll play it back for Kumas. Giles sends one inside the penalty area. Heads go up for it, it's cleared. Oh, Delap sliced it back across the edge of his own penalty area, but not into danger. Harto headed it clear. Hull recycle it. Hirakawa trying to get it down the line for Miller. Couldn't find him. Chelsea win it back. And Sarr just drops off. Great positional sense from him to offer himself as a passing option, and Chelsea are able to easily play their way out from the back. Well, but for injury, both the Delap brothers could have been involved in successive days on the TalkSport network. Liam playing tonight, his brother Finn on the books of Bert now, being he's injured, won't be featuring tomorrow. They take on West Ham. It's a 12:15 kickoff down in Staffordshire tomorrow, and we'll be there. Build-up starting at 11 here on TalkSport. Plenty more live FA Cup action coming your way tomorrow as well, of which more in a moment, as Garnacho just plays a tame ball forward and Phillips can come out and meet it. The other games that we've got for you tomorrow on TalkSport: Villa Newcastle at 5:45, Liverpool Brighton at 8, and Manchester City take on Salford, a repeat of one of the games from last year where City won 8-0, and that's on TalkSport 2 and is underway at 3. Here's Andre Santos, played forward and he's given it away. There's been a goal in Wrexham. Steve Hobbersall.
It's Wrexham who've got it. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0. Josh Windass from close range converting home after that period of possession they'd had in the last 10 minutes. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
Windass is 9th of the season there, hoping to reach the 5th round of the FA Cup for the first time in 29 years. And they lead the 1978 winners by a goal to nil. Caicedo. And played out to Garnacho. Garnacho coming to meet it. COYI has not quite had his number so far, but he'll be happy with the way that he's dealt with him. Louis Corr, the very long-serving Hull City captain, playing at right back, with more than 200 Tigers games behind him. And Garnacho's had very little change out of him so far, Tash.
Yeah, he absolutely hasn't. He's winning that battle all day long. He fancies it in the snow, in the rain, in the cold. You absolutely... Garnacho is one of those players that if you're going to hit him early and put him on the floor, 9 times out of 10 he's going to shy away, and right now that's the case, and Coyle's doing a great game 1v1 with him. He hasn't had a sniff.
The snow still wisping around the square bulbs of the floodlights on the 4 corners of the ground. It's not coming down quite as heavily as it was 10-15 minutes or so ago, but it's still in the air. Esteval has got Reece James to his right, 3 yards in for the right-hand touchline. Play back to Esteval again. Esteval can't find a way past Miller, but he's been able to just poke the ball square. Caicedo laying it back to the edge of the centre circle. Santos. Neto turning, looking for options ahead of him, clipping it forward. It's hit Hadjiametovic. Now Delap. Passed on by him. Harto coming forward, joining the attack. Garnacho unleashes one from distance, hits the nearest Hull player. Chelsea pick up the loose ball again, but in a deeper position with Fofana.
Yeah, at the moment it's just a little bit too compact for Chelsea. They're trying the flicks and tricks, but in the wrong areas. They have to get it out wide, try and create some triangles, 2v1s.
Here's Pedro Neto. Turning, knocking it out towards the right-hand side for Reece James. And here's the Hull side, remember, without Charlie Hughes, the really highly rated centre-half at the back, the former Wigan player, without Ollie McBurney up front. The front three that have been fielded tonight by Jakirovic have been really lively so far, albeit that Kumas missed a great chance. Not as good as the ones missed at the other end by Delap and Esteval, mind. Now Hirakawa winning it back, looking around, seeing who is where, trying to take on Harto. Great recovery from the Dutchman, who came back, won it back for Chelsea. Hirakawa, just with a moment's hesitation, looked to try and pick a pass. Harto capitalised on that, wins it back. Now it's Chelsea coming forward towards the edge of the Hull penalty area. Still 0-0. Right-footed effort comes in from Santos. Deflected. Coyle's there first. Gets there ahead of Garnacho and clears and puts it out down towards the far touchline where it might have drifted out for a throw. It was actually kept in by the retreating Harto, electing to play it rather than let it roll over the line and out for that throw. And Santos now has the ball at his feet and exchanges passes with Neto. Caicedo behind James, who turned quickly, saw it was a poor pass, but he couldn't recover his ground quickly enough on a tricky playing surface. So how to play for a Hull throw in their left-back position. 8 to the break, and still, amazingly, 0-0.
Yeah, amazingly. I just want to go back to that opportunity with Hirakawa. Hull on the break there, and it's just such a shame because Kumas was actually just about to make a run, peel across the centre half to create almost a 3v2 overload, and Hirakawa just takes that extra touch too much, and he's had a couple of opportunities like that. But it's really promising for Hull as well because they know that pace-wise they've got the beating of this Chelsea back four.
Miller. James gets there first. Didn't think he was going to. That's a great challenge. He's had a play for a Hull throw. But Miller appreciating that, gave him a little tap on the head on the way past because he was struggling to make up the ground for a moment and then put the afterburners on and slid in. It was the timing of the challenge that got him there, really. McCarthy plays the ball forward. Fofana heading it back inside his own penalty area. He and Sarr just across purposes for a moment. Awkward touch from Caicedo in the midfield. One back by Slater. Play forward towards Miller. And Miller's with Giles behind him, and James again has just gobbled up the opportunity to win the ball back. Almost a hospital pass towards Caicedo, but he can get it forward, and then Delap turns neatly in possession. Chelsea changing the direction of attack, moving it quickly from the right flank out to the left. Pedro Neto down the line towards Garnacho, still getting booed by the Hull fans. His ball inside the box, easily volleyed away, and Chelsea will pick it up again on halfway. Caicedo in a central area, down for Reece James. Hull fans getting behind their side. They will be delighted with so many aspects of this performance from the much changed team. 6 changes for Hull tonight, 7 for Chelsea, and 0-0 after the flurry of misses in the early stages, the first 20 minutes. Since then it's settled down a bit, and neither goalkeepers had too much to do latterly. Neto. Delap waiting. Neto has got Reece James making a run up outside him. He's curved it in beautifully with the outside of the left boot. Garnacho goes down inside the penalty area, claiming he was hauled down, and now gets back to his feet, looks imploringly at the referee. And Farai Alam is not in the slightest bit interested. Chelsea will bring it forward again. But strong defending. That's how the officials saw it. Remember, there's no VAR here this evening. Harto to Neto. Neto does well. Good turn by Caicedo. An opportunity for Delap to pull it back. Sets up Neto, who rifles it brilliantly into the bottom right-hand corner. It is a great finish from Pedro Neto. 2 or 3 inspired passes in the move preceded it. Chelsea have the breakthrough 5 minutes before half-time.
It's harsh, to be honest, but it's a great finish. With only 5 minutes to go, Hull would have loved to have held out, but let's talk about the goal. So Delap involved in it, nice hold-up play by the number 9 there. Finds Neto, all he needs is half a yard to shift it onto his left foot. Too much time there for the Chelsea player. Hull have to get tighter to him, but it's a great finish into the side netting. Bottom right-hand corner, whipped across the goalkeeper. Nothing he could do there. But it's a shame for Hull because they've done so well. They've had their opportunities. They've looked pretty strong defensively. So to concede such a sucker blow with 5 minutes to go, you can see it's going to have to cause a big reaction, but great finish by Neto.
Well, 12 of his last 13 Chelsea goals now have been scored away from Stamford Bridge. Pedro Neto's a great finish, but superb turn from Caicedo and then from Delap as well, who we've been a little bit critical of at times, but that's his link-up play. It's just good awareness and good trickery with the ball at his feet, turning it forward, and Neto did the rest. Chelsea leading by a goal to nil with 5 minutes to go to half-time here on Talk Sport. And now they'll bring it forward again and try to find Liam Delap. Delap running at Egan. He pulls the ball back. Garnacho. And Chelsea looking for a second in as many minutes. Delap waiting for the ball to be played back to him. It's cannoned away off Egan, who can then clear. Headed on the left-hand touchline by Harto for Garnacho. And Jarell Harto winning it back for Chelsea. Goes back inside his own half. And Fofana now will play down towards James.
I think as well for Delap, just to have goal involvement is so important. You can see already his body language, his chest is a little bit more up, making those runs there as well, heavily involved. You know, if you're not going to score, can you be involved in the goals? And he's done that. So hopefully it'll give him a lot of confidence moving forward for the rest of this game.
Now, Delap, remember, one of the three guilty parties of extraordinary misses in the opening quarter of the night. And Luis Kumas at one end, and then Estevao and Delap at the other. And here's Neto, who's shown them all how it's done, with an infinitely harder chance than the three that were spurned. He plays it back for Sarr. Well, Sarr goes forward through the midfield. Harto, Garnacho, and out of play for a throw. Taken over on the Chelsea left, and Garnacho, who shows no interest in going to retrieve the ball. He's just down on his haunches for a moment. I don't know whether he was caught by Hirakawa. And now goes down again. The throw has been taken to restart play, and he just went down for a moment over on the far touchline. Back on his feet, and now he bends over again, and he's just feeling his left knee and his left foot with the black gloved hand. But he's okay, I think. There's certainly half-time coming. They're going to be able to assess him pretty quickly. We're not going to have too much stoppage time at the end of this first half. And snow's now abated, I'm delighted to say. 1-0 Chelsea. Probably on the balance of play they deserve it, but Hull have been more than game and have played their part in an excellent contest so far. Certainly not out of it. Doesn't have the feeling of one of those nights where as soon as Chelsea score, that is it. Far from that.
No, absolutely not. A 1-0, they're still in the game, and they've got a strong bench as well, players that can come on and affect the game.
Handball showers against Estevao. It was cleared from in front of him by McCarthy, who gets it again from Giles, or at least should have got it again from Giles, who underhit the pass, and McCarthy did well to recover. And then Giles whacks it down the left-hand touchline, hoping that Miller can somehow work some magic. But Fofana's job was pretty easy to win that back.
Giles needs to do better there, though. It's so frustrating with regards to you're under pressure, you haven't got a lot of the ball. Kumas makes a great run into a pocket, has acres of space. He needs to find him there. He can get half turned, and then Miller's made that run. That's the kind of levels now at this game. When you're under the cosh, you have to connect your passes better.
Pedro Neto, goal scorer, played back inside his own half for a moment. Andre Santos getting it away from Hirakawa in the midfield. Harto goes out towards Garnacho. Garnacho running inside the penalty area, played it back. It hit Coyle and then cannon into the retreating Hirakawa. It's come off his chin and gone out for a corner, which will be taken by Chelsea. Their first of the night with 30 seconds to go to half-time.
Yeah, big moments now. I think it's vital that Hull make sure they stay in this game and keep it at 1-0 till half-time. They can regroup and then come out strong second half. If they concede a second goal, then it's looking like a tough afternoon here. So big moment for them.
James will go across to take the corner. Fourth official John Busby's got the numbers board in his hand, and we'll find out in a moment how many extra minutes are going to be added. It could well be just the one. So how have Chelsea set up? Delap's inside the 6-yard box. Two centre-halves are in there as well. Neto waiting now by the penalty spot. In swinging delivery. Phillips comes out, leaning over one of his teammates, can punch it clear as we go into just an extra 60 seconds. And then Neto retreating, trying to stop the Hirakawa counter-attacks, fouled him. And the first yellow card of the night is shown to Chelsea's goal scorer.
I tell you what, Hull were playing Liam Rosenior at his own game there with regards to what he did against Arsenal with leaving three forwards up front on a corner. They've done exactly that. It was a 2v2 situation. And again, it's Hirakawa who gets the ball and does well, but probably just takes that extra bit of a touch. He hasn't got the pace to get away, but if he could, then it's game on there. Dangerous play there by Chelsea, but also brave play by Hull.
So Pedro Neto in the book for the fourth time this season. And the first half is going to end with a Dylan Phillips free kick from inside the centre circle. Chelsea keeping a high line 18 yards outside their own penalty area. And Phillips will just try and drive it, almost like a little pitching wedge, over the top of that back line for one of the Hull players to run onto. There's barely time to take this. You can't afford to waste too much time in setting it up. plays it forward. As soon as there's a decent Chelsea contact on it, I think the half-time whistle will go. Hull have it over on the right. As it was played forward, now it comes back off Andre Santos, and that is half-time. 3 big misses in the opening 20 minutes. Then Chelsea dominating possession after that, took the lead with a brilliant strike from Pedro Neto. Hull on the counter-attack, always looking lively. Hirakawa and Miller on the flanks have been superb, particularly Liam Miller. But at half-time it is Hull 0, Chelsea 1.
Well, I guess Chelsea will be pleased that they're getting into half-time ahead, because when you face a team from a lower division in the Cup, the last thing you really want to do is allow them to build some confidence, particularly when they're a side in good form. And that's exactly what Chelsea did in the early stages, but as the half wore on, they were let out of jail by their extra quality and a high-class finish from Pedro Neto that sees them go in with a goal advantage and clearly will change the complexion of the second half. Realistically, up until the goal, it was kind of the first half that Hull were hoping for. They'd restricted Chelsea. Yeah, okay, they were having a lot of possession, but they weren't creating a number of clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. And it really did take a special finish to get past them.
Yeah, absolutely did. I think the game plan by Hull was great. You know, that kind of back five, looking to hit them on the counter, willing runners in the likes of Kumas, Miller in particular as well, Hirakawa. Couple of half chances that potentially, if they score that, you know, get the crowd going. And this is the small margins, and this is where we talk about probably Premier League players compared to Championship players. You know, you give those players quality, they're going to hurt you, and that's exactly what they did. But they won't be disappointed with regards to they're still in the game. You know, to create an amount of chances that they have against Chelsea in that first 45. Also then with the likes of, you know, when you talk about Gelhardt on the bench, you've got Joseph, you've got some experienced players that if they have to then bring them on to have an impact, they can do that. But they're still in this game, and Chelsea at times at the back look really vulnerable. Yeah,
I was about to say there will be a bit of a frustration from their performance for Chelsea, because really they look disconnected at times, albeit it felt like a passing exercise at times from the training ground. You know, they were keeping a lot of possession, not doing much with it. But when it got into that final third, you know, a lot of misplaced passes, some sloppy performances, generally speaking. You think of Delap, really until the last 5 or so minutes, was not having a great game. Garnacho, I don't think has had a good game at all. Yeah, there are some good players out there, and that has helped Chelsea, but they'll be asking questions of themselves in that changing room right now.
Yeah, they absolutely will. You know, you come away to a place like Hull, it's snowing, it's cold. You know, your players that potentially haven't been getting as much game time, it's a point to prove, and I think that's what's probably disappointed me a little bit with some of the players that have been given that opportunity. I don't think they've looked or played as if maybe they want to get into this starting 11, in my opinion. You know, I think they've maybe underestimated Hull slightly, haven't really got out of second gear, and probably a little bit fortunate that Neto has given them that little bit of a lifeline, a bit of quality to put them 1-0 up, but they have to be better than that second half, otherwise this is going to be a lot of a tighter game than it should be. It
could have been a wider margin when you truly think about it. It felt like, when we watched that goal-scoring drill before the game, that the Chelsea front three clearly hadn't brought their shooting boots with them. Esteval went round the goalkeeper, he was at an angle on his left foot, and for me that finish kind of typified the approach from those Chelsea youngsters. That wasn't the true diligence and professionalism that Esteval would have hit that shot with if he was playing a Premier League game. He wasn't making sure it hit the target, he just flipped it towards goal, it ended up going over the crossbar. Liam Delap closed down Phillips, the goalkeeper, it ricocheted against the crossbar, and when it came back to him, instead of putting it into an open goal, he put his arm in the air and appealed to the referee that the ball had crossed the line, ended up losing his opportunity at goal, and really showed that he was out of confidence as well. 2 moments that really anyone at Chelsea needs to be dealing better with.
Yeah, and I think if anything, it proves why maybe that then they're not starting come the Premier League, because I think that no matter what game, you know, before the game here, Rossini was saying they're going to treat it as if it's a Champions League game, a Premier League game. Now, he might be, absolutely, but I don't think the players are. And I think, you know, as a centre-forward myself, you have to have that intensity. And you can't just turn up on a game day and expect to score goals if then you're not doing it in training, if you're not doing it in the warm-up. And I watched the warm-up, and the finishing was really sloppy. Then you come onto a pitch where you've got defenders, the intensity, the pressure, and then you don't deliver, and there's a reason why. So I think as players and as professionals, you have to have higher standards, especially playing at Chelsea Football Club. So I'd expect some strong words at half-time and a better performance second half.
Yeah, genuinely in that warm-up, there's the goal. They put a net behind the goal to protect the spectators. The Chelsea forwards weren't even hitting that net behind the goal during the warm-up, and thankfully Pedro Neto has got them out of trouble with a great goal from the edge of the box to put Chelsea in front at the half here on TalkSport. We'll have the next 45 minutes for you very shortly indeed with Jim Proudfoot and Natasha Dowie. Let's check in on events though in North Wales. Wrexham taking on Ipswich Town. TalkSport, Steve Hoddesall.
The home side are in front at half-time. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0. Josh Windass with the goal after the half-hour mark, turning the ball in from Longman's cross. Wrexham deserved it. Ipswich had the better of the first 15, but the balance of this one changed as Wrexham dug in after that quarter hour. Palmer saving superbly from a super long-range shot from Windass. Sustained Wrexham pressure built before the goal on 34 minutes. Could have been 2, but Rathbone's fantastic strike, which was heading into the top corner, was tipped clear by Palmer. Again, another awesome stop. Wrexham with the goal and the momentum. Half-time, Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
In the WSL, over on TalkSport 2 tonight, Manchester City 6, Leicester 0. City will open up an 11-point lead at the gap, at the top, when they get to full-time in that one. In the Scottish Championship, Airdrieonians 0, St Johnstone 1. St Johnstone look like they will move 5 points clear if they can hang on at the top of the Scottish Championship. Goalless in the Welsh Premier tonight between Colwyn Bay and the New Saints. In Rugby Union's English Prem Rugby Cup, Harlequins 19, Northampton Saints 7 on the stroke of half-time. And it's the first night of Rugby League Super League. It finished Catalan Dragons 26, Huddersfield Giants 10. 8 o'clock starts, Lee Leopards 10, Leeds Rhinos 2, and Warrington leads St Helens by 12 points to 0. And the latest episode of How to Win the World Cup podcast is now live. Host Matt Ford and Tim Vine speak to the former USA goalkeeper Brad Friedel about how the joint hosts are preparing ahead of the tournament this summer. Here Friedel explains that regardless of how popular the beautiful game is becoming in the States, it will never be referred to as football.
I don't want to make this all about Trump, but in his defence at the World Cup draw, he did say that thing about, when you think about it, we should call it football. We call it soccer, but it is football. When you think about it, we should be calling it football. I think a lot of football fans around the globe would have agreed with him at that point.
Okay, there's one logical statement.
Do you think we'll ever get to a point, Brad, where in America it's called football?
No.
Okay, next question. Thinking of USA night before...
I don't. NFL football's too strong.
That's Brad Friedel, the former Blackburn, former Spurs goalkeeper, on how to win the World Cup. It's available now and wherever you get your podcasts from. And remember tonight, just the start of the FA Cup 4th round. Tomorrow we've got a number of live games for you. 3 games for you, including Game Day Live on TalkSport. 12:15, it's Burton against West Ham. Then Game Day Live from 2:15 with Adrian Durham. 5:45, it's Aston Villa against Newcastle, and we'll have Liverpool against Brighton from 8 p.m. 2 games tomorrow over on TalkSport 2. Exclusive coverage in League One of Stevenage against Huddersfield. We'll have Manchester City against Salford in the FA Cup from 3 o'clock. And on Sunday, a triple header. Birmingham against Leeds at 12. Oxford against Sunderland at 2. We'll have Arsenal taking on Wigan at 4:30. And on TalkSport 2, it's Grimsby against Wolves from 1:30. And on Monday, 2 games on Monday evening, in fact, 7:30 start for Macclesfield against Brentford live on TalkSport, and an 8 o'clock start for Coventry against Middlesbrough in the Championship, exclusively live on TalkSport 2. OK, at the break here at the MKM Stadium, thanks to Pedro Neto, Hull City 0, Chelsea 1. Will the Championship side make a comeback in the second half? We'll find out next.
FA Cup Live on TalkSport with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
So, for my pension investment, should I pay a flat fee or a percentage fee? A percentage fee will get bigger as my pension grows, but Interactive Investor's flat fee will stay the same, meaning I get to keep the money I make. Obviously.
It's raining. For over 500,000 investors, the penny's dropped. A Which recommended personal pension provider for 4 years running. Interactive Investor. I think, therefore II. Remember, when investing, your capital is at risk.
Love that feeling when a game just clicks? At Virgin Bet, you'll find all your favourites in one place. Classic casino games and hundreds of the most exciting slots. And it's a good bet you'll love our new member welcome offer. Just join, wager at least £10 on slots within 7 days of signing up, and get 100 free spins to get you started. Virgin Bet, a good bet. Use free spins on selected games in 7 days. Value varies. Terms and exclusions apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. GambleAware.org.
Extra 10%?
Trade account exclusive. Over 700 brands. That's worth remembering. Because right now at Dulux Decorator Centre, bag an extra 10% on trade account prices across paints, tools and accessories. Everything you need to get the job done. But keep in mind, it only runs until 22nd of February. So, that's an extra 10%, trade account exclusive, over 700 brands. Got it? Dulux Decorator Centre. T's and C's apply. Offer not open to Dulux Decorator Centre 360 customers. Sundays online only.
It might be cold outside, but things are really warming up at the Wren Winter Sale, with red-hot prices on our high-quality, fully built kitchens and fitted bedrooms. Right now, there's up to 60% off fully built kitchens and all bedroom units, plus up to 7 years interest-free credit. Made for making you feel warm inside, whatever the weather. Wren, made for living. Visit your nearest Wren showroom. Offers apply when you buy 5 or more kitchen units or 3 or more bedroom units. Finance subject to status and minimum spend.
We're into the thick of the season now, and so's Coral's Reward Shaker, with even bigger rewards and offers. The half and half scarfers, shaking decisively for once. They've backed a super boost. Next to them, the Prawn Sandwich Brigade. Oh, they've shaken up a free bet after that free lunch. Play Coral's free reward shaker to win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. Coral, we're here for it.
18 plus UK max 1 reward or offer per player per day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Reward restrictions and T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org.
Hello, if there's anyone listening, you should know cigarette butts are litter. Every day, thousands, millions are dropped on the floor and people don't actually realise that is littering. The duck is not happy. It wants you to bin your butts. Please, for the love of... bin your butts!
Cigarette butts are rubbish. If you smoke, bin your butts. Keep Britain tidy.
TalkSport Breakfast in partnership with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK. Move up through the gears every morning with top of the range sports edition, ABS, story breaking news, and more gold talk to the gallon. Plus a stellar lineup of super celebrity sports guests as standard. TalkSport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 on TalkSport with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK.
FA Cup Live on TalkSport with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability, price and participation may vary.
Initiate adrenaline pumps. Kickoff live on TalkSport.
The FA Cup fourth round gets underway on TalkSport tonight with a half-decent chance of an upset.
And Chelsea, oh, they've lost it. Miller crossed the face of the 6-yard box and Kumas couldn't tap it in. What a chance that was.
I mean, I'm not too sure how Kumas didn't score that, to be honest.
Here's Esteval. He's round the goalkeeper and he's missed.
That should be 1-0 to Chelsea.
Phillips under pressure here from Delap, and it's off the underside of the bar. And then the second attempt, can he score? No, he can't. This has been a bizarre masterclass in how not to finish in front of goal. An opportunity for Delap to pull it back. Sets up Neto, who rifles it brilliantly into the bottom right-hand corner. It is a great finish from Pedro Neto. 2 or 3 inspired passes in the move preceded it. Chelsea have the breakthrough 5 minutes before half-time.
Yes, Pedro Neto's first goal in 9 games is the difference so far at the MKM Stadium as a fairly wasteful Chelsea get their noses in front of Hull and dip a toe into the 5th round. That will be decided, though, in the next 45 minutes, and I hope Hull will have something to say about it in front of a packed house, home crowd here as well. That's coming up very shortly indeed, but ahead of Burnley against Mansfield, which is part of Game Day Live tomorrow, the Mansfield CEO Carolyn Radford's going to be speaking to Shabana Hearn and Tony Cascarino on Weekend Sports Breakfast tomorrow morning. So just a reminder to you, make sure you check it out. We'll have all the build-up to a raft of great FA Cup fixtures tomorrow, and hopefully it's a vintage year in the FA Cup. 3rd round was great. We've got off to a decent start so far as well. Alongside me, Jim Proudfoot and Natasha Dowie, the former Lioness. We still got both sets of substitutes out in front of us warming up, and the officials just making their way onto the pitch. 2 sets of players will be with us very shortly indeed. How would you be feeling if you were both managers, really, Sergei Yakirovic and firstly Liam Rosenior?
I think that if you're Rosenior, you're wanting to kind of shut this game up as quick as you possibly can, and Is he trusting the players on the pitch to do that? I'm not too sure. I think when you look at his bench, he's got players that really could come on and finish the game off. But do you want to risk that? I still think the game is really open. I think that with regards to the whole side, he doesn't need to make too many changes right now. They've been doing really well. They've created chances. I think, give the players another 10-15 minutes, and then around that 60-minute mark where managers tend to make changes, you can maybe look to bring on the likes of your Gelhardts and your Josephs, who can really then have an impact. But I think Hull are so in this game, and I really do hope that they come out with the mentality that they did in the first half and they don't just let the game slip away.
For the second time tonight, Chelsea's players have come out and done a huddle around the centre circle. Now, a few games ago, Liam Rosenior was telling the Arsenal players, I can't repeat it, but to unceremoniously get back in their own half. I just wish the whole players would have said that, maybe to the Chelsea players. They'll be hoping to get their way back into this game. The second half about to start. Hull City 0, Chelsea 1, live on TalkSport with former Lioness Natasha Dowie and TalkSport's Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, it's some sight that. So they go into a huddle and they are protecting the ball effectively. So they are a little blue circle just around the ball in the middle of the centre circle. They did it before the games, Hugh said. They've just done it again. We are back underway, and there have been no changes made by either team at half-time, and I'll run through the 2-11s for you in a moment, with Chelsea kicking from right to left towards the north stand here at the MKM. And that's the end of the ground that houses the visiting supporters. Robert Sanchez with a touch outside his penalty area. In front of him, a back four of James, Fofana, Sarr and Hato. Andre Santos and Caicedo in midfield. Pedro Neto, the goal scorer, playing at 10, with Esteban and Garnacho wide of him, and Delap up front against a club where he scored 8 goals in a loan spell from Manchester City. Now Hato's got possession on the left. Poked forward towards Pedro Neto, who was just caught. And it's a free kick given away by Hull, who have Phillips in goal, McNair, Egan and McCarthy. They're back 3 with Coyle and Giles, particularly Giles given licence to push forward from wing-back. And then Slater and Hatzimetovic in midfield. Hirakawa, Kumas and Miller, the front 3. Chelsea bringing it forward here with Reece James across the face of the 6-yard box, and well claimed by Phillips. Now, Egan sliding in, did well just to retract a leg in the nick of time to stop him steering it past his goalkeeper. It was a really good cross. Nobody could get there in time. Phillips making the save. Bright start of the second half from Chelsea. And here's Tash Dowie.
Yeah, absolutely is. Reece James just needs to get a bit more whip on that ball. Finds himself in a really good position, though, high up the pitch. He hasn't been able to get as high as he probably would have liked in the first half. But also what I've just noticed as well that Hull need to be careful of is Neto is finding himself in really nice pockets. And when Hull do step, they're stepping really high, but then allowing him to be free. And if Chelsea can find him, he's in a world of space. So their midfield players, Hull, just need to be a little bit aware there, checking the shoulder. If not, the 2 centre-halves need to squeeze up and get tighter to him.
Chelsea have it with the 2 centre-halves exchanging passes again. And then getting it forward towards Delap. Delap has held it up nicely, waiting for the cavalry to arrive in behind him. Esteban did exactly that. Now goes back for Sarr. Sarr inside his own half of the centre circle. Garnacho coming down towards this near touchline in a bit of space. And Sarr has it. The ball just on the whitewash of the centre circle as it's then played out towards Garnacho. Garnacho to Andre Santos. Chelsea inside their own half for a moment. In the first half, their possession was in the high 70s, but it was a pretty even shot count for most of the first half. In fact, Hull marginally ahead of it for a lot of the time. Will they be able to create the kind of opportunity that they presented Kumas with inside the opening 6 or 7 minutes or so? Will they be able to get the ball more readily to Miller down the left-hand side, who's been really dangerous? And Chelsea trying to win it and do a little battle of head tennis going on in the midfield. Delap, Hato stepping in and then finding Reece James in the centre circle as he sprays it wide for Esteban. And he's going to run at Ryan Giles here. Cuts it onto his left foot. Can't get a shot in because the impressive Slater was in there strongly. Caicedo, in with a rumbustious challenge of his own, wins it back. And then gets it down towards Reece James, down by the corner flag. The fact that James has come back out for the second half makes this his longest FA Cup appearance since May 2022. And Chelsea have just won a free kick that James will stand over and orchestrate, level with the edge of the Hull penalty area, but out towards the right-hand touchline.
Yeah, first 3 minutes, Chelsea have come out, and we spoke about there'll probably be a few hard words at half-time. You know, it wasn't a good enough performance, but James is massively involved, whether it's delivering, whether it's underlapping at the moment. He's getting himself much higher up the pitch, and they look a real threat, and these are the kind of moments for Hull where they have to stay in the game. They have to ride the momentum and then find some themselves.
They've only had 3 failures to win so far since Liam Rosenior took over from Enzo Maresca. And a second goal here, and they would certainly be banking on it being an 8th win in 11 since Liam took charge. It's Caicedo, the free kick works short. Hull still keeping their line around the edge of the penalty area, now have to retreat. High ball is swung in deep towards the far post, good save from Phillips. Well met by Andre Santos with a powerful header. And Phillips stuck his hands up and just pushed it away from in front of his face, over the bar and out for a Chelsea corner.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of joy down that right-hand side again. It's a lovely ball in. Just dinked, held up. And then he's been able to come onto it. And if anything, if I'm being ultra critical, can he head it down? It's a good height for the keeper. Phillips makes a good save, but he's got time to head the ball down low, hard. Big opportunity there to make it 2-0 to Chelsea.
Well, Hull have only kept one up top defending this corner. Now Hirakawa goes forward. Chelsea take this corner in towards the near post, and it's in. It's crept in. Swept in from that far side in towards the near post area, and just took a deflection in front of Phillips. And Chelsea have doubled their advantage 5 minutes into the second half. A frustrating goal from a Hull perspective. They just couldn't deal with the ball in. And Chelsea double their advantage, 2 up and surely through.
And this is exactly what Hull didn't want to happen. I talk about them kind of 15-minute blocks, and they would have wanted to come out, stay in the game, create themselves some opportunities, but already 5 minutes in, Chelsea have been all over them. And Hull really looks shaken. It looks as if that first half goal has really flattened them, and they haven't been able to come out this second half and really hit the ground running, and this looks like it's only going one way.
So Neto late in the first half, Harto early in the second, 2-0 Chelsea lead. And with the Dutchman scoring his second goal for the club. And it's just taken the belief out here, just having another look at it. Maybe a Dylan Phillips own goal in the end. As the ball was just fired in from that far side. Harto coming across the goalkeeper and getting the touch. Hit Phillips and ricochets in. 2-0 Chelsea. And Hull now have the proverbial decline. And it really has taken the wind out of the sails here.
And I think now it's a case of how does Sergei go about this? You know, does he throw his big guns on now potentially to try and get back in the game, or is he focused more on the league? But if the game carries on how it is, the scoreline could get quite big.
Hull will come forward. Out on the left-hand side, some low ball fist across the edge of the 6-yard box, and they've got a corner of their own now. Having seen another view of the goal, I think Neto scored direct from the corner. I don't think Harto touches that at the near post. He's gone up for it. It's maybe just brushed off the top of his head. And then Phillips slow to react. It's nutmegged him. And I think it's Pedro Neto's goal direct from the corner. We'll find out shortly whether they change who it has been officially given to. But I think Neto's got them both. So Hull looking to get back into the game from this first corner that they've won in the second half. In towards the near post, just past McCarthy and McNair. Now to come out on the right-hand side, an opportunity for Slater. He's played it back. Coyle swings it inside the box. Headed away emphatically. A little flick off McCarthy. Back in. Laid down by Egan. Chelsea should be there easily with Estevao to get it away. And he tries to release Garnacho. Coyle comes across, he's made a mess of it. I think he was thinking his goalkeeper was going to be able to come out and deal with that. He couldn't. Garnacho's got it. He's inside the penalty area. He's rolled it towards the edge of the penalty area, nowhere near finding a teammate. Slater with almost his first mistake of the night. It just dillied and dallied inside the box. but he has got it away in time. And then Hull get it forward towards halfway. 2-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, Hull look a bit shaky right now, but I tell you what, they'll look at the result from last game and know that Chelsea were in a similar position, 2-0 up against Leeds and found themselves, drawing the game 2-2. So 2-0 is a really tricky scoreline with regards to if you are 2-0 up. Do you want to go for a third and really see the game out? The next goal is so important. I know it sounds so obvious, but it really is for Hull. They have to stay in this game, and they will get opportunities. They already have had little half moments in this second half. They've had a lot of big ones in the first half. Their time will come. They just have to be patient.
Well, the goal has been changed from a Harto goal to a Neto goal, and now back again. So officially, it's Harto with a Neto assist. But listen, hold my beer. It's going to change 3 or 4 times again, I'm sure. It might end up being a Phillips' own goal.
They'll be fighting over that anyway. Both will be wanting that goal desperately.
Yeah, Dylan Phillips will let either of them have it as long as it doesn't go against him. It's 2-0 to Chelsea, that's the bottom line. And the Blues in control now, have the ball in the midfield. This is going to be a 9th straight FA Cup victory against Hull. They have got a really good record against lower division opposition in the FA Cup, Chelsea. They've only lost 2 of the last 64 FA Cup ties that they played against lower division sides. You'll remember a defeat to Barnsley nearly 20 years ago, and then that famous loss when they were top of the Premier League at home to Bradford back in 2015. Here's Garnacho, skipping past Hirakawa, tries to work the angle, gets a right-footed shot in. Phillips stopped it and then is able to gather at the second attempt. Still 0-2 the score. You're listening to the FA Cup on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Price may vary. Let's go to Wrexham, find out how the start of the second half's been going there. Steve Hoverson.
It remains Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0, but a really strong start to the second half from the visitors, and nearly an Ipswich equaliser. Cayuste's long throw, a mad scramble on the Wrexham goal line before Okonkwo smothered the ball, but it has been all Ipswich in this second half. They're still trying to find that equaliser. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
So Wrexham going through as things stand. Chelsea also going through tomorrow. Burton against West Ham, Villa Newcastle and Liverpool Brighton, all live on TalkSport. Manchester City against Salford is on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock. Our action begins game day live from the Pirelli Stadium in Staffordshire. Burton Albion against West Ham United, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then you don't have to move a muscle. We've got everything covered for you. And FA Cup game day live with Adrian Durham over the course of the afternoon, with all the goals as they go in. Regan Slater's in possession here for Hull. Now he's played it back for Regan. Long ball forward from him. Hirakawa's battling to keep it in. He got his head to it, could do little more. And it was a good pass to the camera operator down in front of the hoardings, who had to whip his camera out of the way to stop an expensive collision. Ball out of play. Chelsea throw. In terms of who's on the bench for Chelsea, Tosin, Badiashile, Fernandez, Joao Pedro, Gusto, Achiampong, Derry and Mahuka. And I don't think it's going to be too long before Liam Rosenior decides to make changes. In fact, right on cue, Enzo Fernandez is just getting ready. Hull have got it with Kumas, and he's won another corner from the retreating Mamadou Sarr.
Yeah, just when I feel as if Chelsea are getting on top, it reminds me that Hull is still in this game. Again, it's good number 9 play by Kumas. Pins the centre half, looks to roll in, wins his team a corner. Yeah, like you said, I'm looking down at both benches, and both managers seem to be making changes, and I think probably more so Hull need to make the changes than Chelsea, but maybe Chelsea are looking to see this game out with bringing some more experienced players on.
Yeah, Achiampong is stripped and ready for action as well. First of all, this Hull corner, left-footed in towards the near post and easily cleared. Estevao helps it further away outside the box. Garnacho loses a game of head tennis in the midfield after it bounced awkwardly in front of him. Another ball is swept in by Giles, and that's cleared. Now Chelsea will be able to bring it away down their left. Although Harto, officially the scorer of a second goal as things stand right now, he plays it back to the edge of his own box, and Sanchez takes a touch and then gets Chelsea on the front foot once more. So Enzo Fernandez and Josh Achiampong, 2 players who are going to be coming on for the Blues in a moment, who are next in action. And next weekend at home to Burnley. Hull have got couple of home games coming up. QPR and Derby next up for them here. Here's Delap inside the penalty area, and still he goes, and he's put it on a plate for Esteval. 3-0, and that is that. Chelsea through inside an hour. Delap with his second assist of the night. Great work inside the penalty area, got to the byline, pulled it back, and Esteval could stroll onto it and blast it past Dylan Phillips. Hull 0, Chelsea 3.
I mean, Liam Delap, what an assist that is, by the way. Brilliant footwork around the goalkeeper, and he could actually put it in the back of the net if he wanted, but he chops it back, and it's a great finish. And it's good to see. You know, we spoke today about how important the game was for Delap with regards to now, was it 2 assists, been heavily involved. And yeah, it's game over, and it's a shame that the Hull couldn't make any earlier changes. Doesn't actually look as if any changes were coming anyway. But yeah, they look flat, tired legs. And Chelsea now are really kicking on. It's a lovely work goal, it really is.
So Esteval with the goal. And Chelsea will now make the double change with Enzo Fernandez coming on to replace Reece James. And Moise Caicedo is the other player that is being replaced. And Josh Achiampong is coming on for him. So just checking exactly how Chelsea going to shuffle things around. Achiampong going out to right back, you would imagine. A straight swap for James, and Enzo in for Caicedo. Also a straight swap in the heart of the midfield. So 3 goals in 19 minutes either side of half time. And it looks like job done already with still half an hour remaining. And it could get worse yet as the ball is played forward through the midfield. Liam Delap almost from the kickoff played in, but Hull were able to get bodies back. And now Hirakawa has it right in front of us on the Hull right. And it's played down the touchline from left to right for Hirakawa to chase by Louis Coyle. Run back by Hato. And Sarr has flicked it into the Japanese and out for a goal kick that will be taken by Rob Sanchez. Jakirovic's options on the bench: Lundstrom and Jacob, Drame and Gelhardt, Joseph, Famewo, Dowell and Tinsdale. But there is no McBurney, as we were talking about earlier, and Joe Gelhardt has been struggling with illness this week, so with the FA Cup tie pretty much having gone, you would imagine that he'll be wrapped in cotton wool for the rest of the night. One of the wins that Chelsea had at Hull in the FA Cup just across town from here at Boothbury Park. A wonderful old stadium, the atmospheric place with its 6 floodlight pylons. They scored 6, Chelsea, with Gus Poyet hat-trick back in the 1999-2000 season. They went on to win the FA Cup that year. Phillips racing outside his own penalty area here as they try to get Esteval in with a long ball over the top, and he came up, mopped up well, and it's gone out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Chelsea right. Full time in our WSL game over on TalkSport 2. Manchester City 6, Leicester 0, with those 6 goals coming in space of 44 minutes between the middle of the first half and the middle of the second. There is some action on the Hull bench, and John Lundstrom, who played in a Europa League final in his Rangers days, is going to be coming on.
I think this is perfect though now for Chelsea. They can just manage the game 3-0 up. They can look to build more partnerships. The philosophy of Rossini and what he wants them to do. You know, they've got a good 30 minutes now to put that into principle.
I told you they'd be keeping Joe Gelhardt wrapped up in cotton wool. Now that lasted for about 30 seconds. He's just made his way to the edge of the technical area. He's going to be coming on as well in a moment. So Lundstrom and Gelhardt about to see some action. Hirakawa has got the ball. Pokes it back in field. Hato looks up to the heavens and puts his hands then to his face as a free kick is given against him. He didn't agree with that decision. Hadjiametovic is coming off. Lundstrom will replace him in the midfield. The other change will see Liam Miller replaced, and Joe Gelhardt comes on. The player's had a good loan spell this season. Though he hasn't scored in his last 5 games. He did net 8 in his previous 10. Never scored in the FA Cup, but he's a popular figure here after a loan spell last season and a longer one this. So Gelhardt coming on. Joffe, as he used to be known in his Wigan days. And Lundstrom first touch of the night is going to be a free kick from the halfway line. Chelsea again keeping a really high defensive line, 20 yards outside their box, and Lundstrom, instead of punting it forward, just rolls it down the right hand side, and Gelhardt is offside. And Chelsea then take the free kick quickly and work it forward. Gelhardt coming back, wins it back from Esteval, and he stayed down hurt. Hull will bring it forward. Sliding challenge comes in to win it back on the left from Sarr. Enzo Fernandez has got it. Esteval's back on his feet, so Fernandez keeps going and plays it to his right-hand side, and Chelsea are going to be able to get it wide out towards Josh Achiampong. It's 3-0 to Chelsea, Tash.
Yeah, it's hard at the moment. You know, he's made the subs now. Will they be able to really have the impact they would have liked? They've got 30 minutes to do so. Didn't start off great. Both of them really weren't switched on, offside from the free kick, but good recovery there by Gelhardt. But look, stranger things have happened. If Hull can get one goal and get the crowd going a little bit, but right now it's so comfortable for Chelsea. Like I said, they're popping it round. Players have been able to get involved a bit more, being able to express themselves, and for Hull it's hard. It's picking and choosing when to go, because when they do go, Chelsea are finding the spaces and really opening them up, but they can't just sit off. They have to have a little bit of pride about them now, try and get themselves back into the game and give the crowd something to cheer about.
Pedro Neto making a run for Delap as well. They played in Liam Delap. He's inside the box. The angle's quite tight. He works it back in, fires it in, hits McNair and goes behind for a corner. I mean, listen, it's barely 3 days since the side was 3-0 up at this stage of the game and lost, but you can't see it here tonight. Can't see Hull doing to Chelsea what Southampton did to Leicester somehow. Neta's going to go out and try his luck. It'd be some way to complete the hat-trick, if indeed the second ends up being credited to him. He's gone out to pick up the yellow ball from behind the assistant referee, spots it down now and makes sure it's stationary by just placing his left hand on the top of the ball. Stands back upright, raises his right arm above his head. Real crowd scene in front of the goalkeeper. Swept in again, and Phillips nearly got done again. They made movement across him, it put him off, and in the end he was just able to beat it away before it went over the line. Then he brings it to the edge of the penalty area and prepares to clatter it upfield. Sarr doesn't move and blocks the clearance, and he's booked.
Yeah, and rightly so, because again, it's 2v2. So if Phillips does get a kick on there, it's game on, and I would love to see, how that would develop there. Like I said, it's really brave by Rosenior to leave it 2v2, but obviously he trusts his defenders to go 1v1 in those situations.
Here is Sarr. Getting it back to his goalkeeper Sanchez, and then a little bit of pressure is applied. Andre Santos can very neatly work it out, play it forward, get it past McCarthy, who's just come forward into midfield now. Just for a moment, he can play in that position as well as centre half. The ball is played back for Phillips, who clears long. Lundstrom just waiting for the ball to drop his way. Down it comes for Slater. Slater down to the right for Coyle. Coyle squaring it back to his left-hand side, given away though by John Lundstrom. And Garnacho wins it back for Chelsea. Opportunity for Enzo Fernandez to turn, which he takes. Last 3 cup ties that Hull have played in either the FA Cup or the League Cup have all gone to penalties, but it's going to be some story if this one does. Estevao has it. Chelsea 3 goals to the good, and having put 5 past Charlton in round 3. They're making similarly easy work at the moment of Hull. Offside flag is up on the far side against Achiampong though, as Estevao rolls him in, and it's a free kick to the Tigers. We're midway through the second half. It's Hull 0, Chelsea 3 on TalkSport. Yeah,
I think it's obviously quite clear and obvious that squad depth is a big problem right now, and it's a real shame that Hull have come into this game with some key players missing, because you really would have fancied their chances potentially if the likes of McBurney would have been around and a couple of other key players, but I feel like the manager's got his hands tied right now, and he's quite limited with the types of changes he can make. He's tried to throw them on. They haven't been able to have the impact they've had yet. There still is time, like you said, but it does seem as if this is just going to be so comfortable for Chelsea, and if anything, they'll be the one that scores more goals.
Well, some breaking news. Team GB have won their first medal at the Winter Games, and it's a gold for Matt Weston in the skeleton. We'll have more details at the top of the hour in the news, but Matt Weston gets gold in the skeleton in the Winter Olympics in Italy. 3-0 to Chelsea here, who have played in 5 of the last 9 FA Cup finals. They've only won 1 of the 5, but have played in 5 of the last 9. And I'm hoping to get there again. Liam Rosenior, of course, played in 1 in his career as a Hull player. He had 160-odd appearances for the club as a player, and then nearly 80 matches here as a manager. A club that is very much a part of his heart, but it's his current employer that are getting the job done tonight, and Liam's done so much to mastermind that. 3-0 to Chelsea with Enzo Fernandez back inside his own half. Now to Sarr. What have you made of Sarr on his debut tonight?
I think he's looked really comfortable, good on the ball, kept things easy, not try to overcomplicate things too much. I think that's what you have to do. You know, build yourself into your kind of playing spot. And as a defender, that's what you have to do. Yeah, I think he's had a really solid game. I also think with Hull right now, you can tell they just aren't being able to get the pressure that they would have liked that they did in the first half. They were able to really put Chelsea under some uncomfortable situations, but right now they're 5-10 yards off every single time, and it's just so easy for Chelsea to pop it around, little triangles.
Hato, Garnacho, Neto, now back for Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea's World Cup winner goes back inside his own half. Andre Santos has it again. And then taking the ball on the half turn, can get it between the lines here. And Chelsea playing with the confidence and a swagger now. Neto in towards Delap. Delap shielding it back for Neto. Through the goalkeeper for 4. It's a hat-trick of assists for Liam Delap. And what a night for Pedro Neto. 2 goals for him and an assist as well. And Chelsea now blowing Hull away.
It's great football. It's nice to see. You can't take any credit away from Chelsea. They're playing up against who they're playing up against, and they've turned it on. And I spoke about the reaction at half-time and what would have been said, and that they would have had a little bit of a kick from Rosenior. It wasn't good enough in the first half, but this is what we expected from them. This is the difference right now between the Premier League and Championship. And again, credit to Liam Delap. That is brilliant number 9 play. Pin in the centre half, a wall to bounce off of, give me the ball, into him, lovely little setback, weight of pass, beautiful, and a really nice finish there by Neto. It's great football fight by Chelsea. It's a pleasure to watch.
Well, a Liam Delap goal would really put the icing on the cake for Liam Rosenior. That goes without saying. He'd love to see an impressive second half performance finessed in that way, but a hat-trick of assists, I'm sure, will do him the world of good. The ball is played over the top now as Hull try and get themselves back into it. Brilliant defending from Hato, denied it as a ball flashed through the 6-yard box. Gelhardt trying to get on the end of it. And it was the other number 21 that got there first. Hato had covered his run and just made sure at some personal cost that he was going to be able to pick it up and just fire it away from Gelhardt. He got a big knock in the process. He's okay to continue. That's really good defending to protect the clean sheet.
Well, that's exactly what you love to see. Your team are 4-0 up, but then the other end, your defenders have that pride, the passion to keep a clean sheet. You know, and that's exactly what you have to see if you're going to go on and then win cup competitions and then get those Champions League spots. You know, talk about habits, good habits. They have to get into that.
Pedro Neto. 4 towards Garnacho. Garnacho on the half turn to Enzo Fernandez. Slater comes across to pick his pocket and did well. McNair then very quickly on the scene. And Hull get it all the way back to their goalkeeper Dylan Phillips. Phillips clattering it upfield. Hato up against Gelhardt again. He's put pressure on. And Hato got it back to his goalkeeper. Not the best clearance from Sanchez. An excellent play on the right-hand side from Kumas. Kumas back then for Gelhardt, who's twisting and turning and then trying to win a corner, but Hato stood his ground and was able to feel the ball that was pinged into him and then just kick it away. And then it comes down towards Garnacho, and a yellow card is shown to John Lundstrom for pulling him back. And of course the advantage that Liam Rosenior has with a 4-0 lead, he can make changes, he can rest players, but he can also give players minutes. So we're going to see Tosin come on. It's not featured for best part of a month because of injury. And we're also going to see a very proud moment in the life of the Derry family very shortly, because young Jesse Derry is going to be coming on, playing in the position that made his dad's reputation all those years ago. And so Jesse Derry and Tosin Adarabioyo both about to come on. 4-0 the score here on Talk Sport. A reminder that tomorrow it's Burton West Ham at 12:15, Villa Newcastle 5:45, Liverpool Brighton at 8, Man City Salford at 3 over on Talk Sport 2. Then Sunday, Birmingham Leeds, Oxford Sunderland and Arsenal Wigan back to back from 12 o'clock. That Arsenal Wigan game live and exclusive to Talk Sport. You won't hear it anywhere else. We've also got Grimsby Wolves just over the river from here at 1:30 on Talk Sport 2 on Sunday. And then Macclesfield hoping to do it again against London opposition from the Premier League Monday night. We're in Cheshire for Macclesfield against Brentford, which kicks off at 8:10. Live FA Cup ties for you on the TalkSport network over the course of the week.
Did you say it was Sean Derry's son?
Absolutely, Sean Derry's son, yeah.
Okay. Crystal Palace days, played on my uncle. Great player.
And Jesse was at Palace until Chelsea came calling for him in the summer. He's got a great reputation, an England player at age group level, and he's going to be coming on shortly. But if the game ever stops and the ball goes out of play again, because he's been waiting for about 3 minutes, Chelsea will bring it forward now. Garnacho waiting on the left. The ball that was played in just went behind Esteval, and the move broke down. And so Fofana has to sprint back to get in position. But Hull looking disconsolate now, know that they are well beaten and are just hoping for the clock to tick down as quickly as it can. 15 to go. Esteval turning, playing it down towards Garnacho. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Garnacho back towards Esteval, couldn't bring it in his stride inside the penalty area. And Hull will get it away. Lundstrom clattering it upfield. Gelhardt can't get there. And it's drifted out. And it'll be a throw. Hull are going to make a double change as well. We're going to see Joseph and Drame come on for them. But first of all, the Chelsea double change. And Jesse Derry on for his debut to replace Esteval. And Fofana is the player coming off for Tosin. Can't imagine, as a father, how proud you must be, particularly when you've been immersed in the game yourself. Knowing that you've got a talented son, and he's played for England under 16s all the way up to 19s, I think it is. But seeing him come on, and all the hard work that he has put in to make his Premier League come on for his senior debut, not his Premier League debut, obviously his senior debut. It's such a proud moment for any family when this moment arrives, and many congratulations to them. So Derry is on, and Darabioyo is on. Hull making a double change as well. While they do that, we'll get the latest from Wrexham. Here's Steve Hollison.
Yeah, 75 played here. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0. Ipswich asking more and more questions, although Wrexham on the attack at the moment. Ipswich managing to hold them off, but Ipswich came out strong in the second half, almost scoring from a goal-mouth scramble. They couldn't find the end product, but they've only just made a triple substitution after 70-odd minutes. Clark, Taylor, Mehmeti coming on. Josh Windas's close-range finish. Still the difference is about 14 to play. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
Thank you, Steve. We'll keep you updated as soon as anything of any consequence happens there. Joseph on for Hirakawa. And the other change has seen Drame come on for Coyle. 13 minutes to go, it's all over bar the shouting. Tosin playing it forward through the midfield, out towards Achi Ampong. Here's Derry, who just plays the way that he's facing. He goes back into the midfield for Enzo Fernandez. Fernandez inside the centre circle. Back out to the blonde-haired Derry again, who can take it and then work an inch-perfect ball down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Clipped back in by Achi Ampong. Delap couldn't get there. Put out for a corner.
I tell you what, I love that by Derry. You know, you come on and we spoke about the debut of Sarr and just keeping it easy. You know, making sure you connect your first pass. It's as soon as he gets it, he plays a wonderful 30-yard ball, just whipped, shaped perfectly. You know, a little bit of backspin so it's kept in and nearly created a lovely chance. And that's what I love about the young kid, is that actually he wants to play those brave passes. He doesn't want to just keep it safe. That's really good to see.
So Hull have kept two up top. Chelsea 2 back with them. Another Chelsea corner becomes a crowd scene in front of the goalkeeper very quickly at the near post. That's swung in again, going for goal. Dealt with in front of the goalkeeper by McNair, but the whistle has gone. The goalkeeper and one of the Chelsea players both ended up, it was Delap, both ended up in the net. But no animosity between the pair of them. Free kick given Hull's way, and it's quickly worked out by Phillips outside his penalty area. 4-0 Chelsea with 11 to go.
I mean, that set piece and corner is definitely something Chelsea have targeted all day. That near post, crowding out Phillips in the near post area, and it's worked nearly every time.
Ball over the top here for Hull. Out comes Sanchez. He's missed it, but he's got a defender behind him to bail him out. Kumas tried to get there. The presence of the goalkeeper did enough, even if he didn't get a touch on it. And Chelsea's retreating defenders were able to clear. And it ends up going out of play for a Hull corner. It looked just for a split second as though that might be the moment for the Tigers' consolation.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's brave play by Kumas. You know, any other number 9, when you see a keeper coming out of you there, you think you're going to get absolutely clattered and hit. But that's the desire that the young kid wants to have to score a goal. He doesn't mind getting hit. Nearly a big mistake there by Sanchez.
The final Hull change, and McCarthy comes off. And Kieran Dowell comes on. He scored against Bristol City last weekend. He signed from Rangers. His only FA Cup goal came in a famous win for Forest against Arsenal a few years back when Forest were in the Championship. 10 minutes to go here. Hull corner. Sanchez coming out to meet it. Didn't really get decent contact on it. Ball goes high up in the air, but Chelsea can get it further away. Back out to the left for Ryan Giles. Now a chance for Slater. Ball in from him is headed clear. Now Drame will take it on. A slightly heavy first touch, and Delap forces him into a hurried second. Goes out for a throw to Chelsea.
I think as well, it's a lesson tonight, isn't it, with regards to, yes, we talk about Hull and the players that they have missing, but their aspirations are to get promoted into the Premier League, and this is the step. This is the big step up. That if they are wanting to do that, then it just kind of shows the gap now and what they'll have to do to invest if they do want to survive.
Andre Santos to the right-hand side of his penalty area. Back from Tosin to Robert Sanchez. And he will look to just clip it forward down the left-hand side for Harto. Well won back, though, by Gelhardt. Slater turning it out to his left-hand side for the recently arrived Dowell. Dowell playing it wide for Giles. Dowell then will continue his run down the left-hand side of the penalty area, although the ball we're back in field for Joseph. Now, this is much better from Hull. Dowell wanting the ball to be pulled back. He went for goal himself for Giles, and it's deflected into the side netting and out of play for a corner.
Oh, I mean, it's lovely play, but also a little bit greedy. Giles there, he finds it's a lovely play, little nutmegs, but he's never scoring from that angle, and he's got bodies in the box. I think he has to cut it back and try and find someone. Ends up getting a corner there, but I think the wrong decision by the fullback.
So corner that Giles will take over on the Hull City left. It's an away swinging delivery. Delap couldn't get there to be able to head it away. Ricochets around a bit. Turned back in by Dowell and then cleared out of play for a Hull throw. You're listening to the FA Cup on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Price may vary. Hull 0, Chelsea 4 the score. Chelsea fans in excellent spirit away to our left, as you can imagine. 9 goals in this FA Cup run for them already this season. Gelhardt cleared pretty emphatically by Garnacho, and out of play for a throw that the Hull will take on the right. Derry comes across to try and stop Dowell playing the pass. It's worked round the corner and whipped in by Joseph, deflected away by Sarr for another Hull corner.
I mean, you've got to give credit to Hull. 4-0 down. Let's be honest, the game is over. They've got probably 10 minutes left to play, but they're having a go. They're wanting to give the crowd here a full crowd of what I think is 24,000 here tonight. They want to give them something to go home and to celebrate one goal, and I think they deserve that. So credit to them with regards to the reaction the last 5-10 minutes.
So this latest corner to be taken on the Hull right-hand side. Another left-footed ball in towards the near post. Derry comes across to clear Giles' delivery from in front of Dowell. And out of play for another corner. And those corners racking up. I think that's 6 in the second half alone for Hull now. But none of them have looked as though they're going to be potent or effective, really. Can Giles get the delivery right this time? Chelsea with everybody back. Dowell trying to make life difficult for Sanchez. Now peels away. It's in towards the near post and cleared. Back out for Giles, and it's just bounced off him as he tried to control it. And out for a throw to Chelsea.
Yeah, it seemed as if Hull were trying to do a similar setup to what Chelsea had been doing, but different was is Chelsea had bodies, big bodies, 4, 5, 6 in and around that near post area. Hull didn't do that. So that's where they then got to try and then get more bodies in around it, scrapping around, get drop down, second balls. So deliveries have been poor today.
Well, those comments that the Hull owner, Ajanil Ajela, made were very interesting about Liam Rosenior. The quote, "I didn't want to go into the Premier League with Rosenior's style of football." And I know it raised eyebrows. The bottom line is that it's Rosenior's Chelsea that are 4 goals to the good here, albeit with a completely disparate budget, of course, that the Tigers have. Ball laid back for Sanchez inside his own penalty area. The clearance dropping through the midfield. Derry's got it, protects it well. Play back for Andre Santos. Out to his right-hand side for Achi Ampon. Down towards the right-hand touchline. Pedro Neto can bring it forward. He's got 2 of the goals tonight. Harto and Estevao with the others. I wonder whether Pedro Neto will try and claim the second goal of the night now that he's subsequently added another. Shimahuka is going to get a run out very shortly as well for Chelsea. Another back pass that left a bit to be desired. Closed down very quickly. Dylan Phillips could just scramble it clear. And it's out for a throw that'll be taken on the Chelsea left. The lap closed him down really quickly. And Phillips just had to make sure that he cleared it anywhere would do. So Mahuka will be on in the next break of play for just his 3rd appearance of the season. Will be his 8th senior Chelsea appearance. 7 of them off the bench. Harto to take this throw. Derry threatening to spin away down towards the corner flag. Has protected it well. He's ghosted past Drame. Gets down towards the byline, then checks. Pulls back inside. Down to the left-hand touchline again for Harto. Harto controlling it, winning a throw as he's played it off down.
Derry definitely didn't learn his skills off his dad though, did he? Very different type of player. His dad was a real hard tackling midfield player. Whereas Derry seems like the young kid looks like he's got great footwork, real skillful, and everything he's done so far, his actions have been really good in the game.
And what you're saying is he takes after his mum. Is that that's what you're saying? Here's Tosin to the left. I'm sure Sean will be here tonight. He'll be having words with you later. That's a beautiful turn from Garnacho. It's inside the centre circle. Now he's got options to his right-hand side. He plays it down towards Pedro Neto. Neto flicking it back. Too heavy a pass for Garnacho. Phillips slides out and makes no attempt to play the ball. And it's drifted over the dead ball line out of play for a goal kick. And Delap will come off. Mahuka on the replacement. So give us, as a striker yourself, an all-round assessment of Liam Delap's night.
Do you know what? I think actually proud with regards to his reaction. You know, hasn't been getting as much game time, not scoring as many goals as we would have liked. Had a big miss in the first half. Could have easily have allowed that miss to get in his head, but he didn't. Carried on running, carried on doing the stuff off the ball, creating his own chances. And then to be able to get 3 assists, I talk about scoring goals is what you want, and absolutely he would have wanted to have scored tonight. But to be involved in 3 goals, and not lovely assists by the way, not just little assists, really nice unselfish assists. So all round I'd have given him a solid 8 out of 10, but as a number 9 you have to start adding goals, so he will be fully aware of that.
Yeah, as many assists tonight as he's scored goals for Chelsea all told so far, but a night of positives for him. Sanchez with the ball at his feet inside his own penalty area, takes a touch, clears it with his second, down towards the Hull right. They're 4-0 down with 2.5 minutes to go. No shock to start the 4th round weekend, but plenty of other opportunities. And some mouth-watering ties, the vast majority of which are coming your way on the TalkSport network. If you've got the TalkSport app, it's really easy just to go to the bottom of the screen. You see on the right-hand side a little tab that says live matches, and that will take you to whatever you need to hear. And we've got it all covered for you on the station that will bring you more live games over the course of this season than any other. More than 550 in the 2025-26 campaign, culminating, of course, in the World Cup. The ball is over on the Chelsea right. Pedro Neto coming to meet it. It's gone past him and out for a throw that will be taken on the Hull City left. And they're very much, and they have been for a while, in the territory of just trying to find a consolation. Not too many signs of it so far, but they'll feel that their efforts deserve it. It's Lundstrom at the back, goes down for Dramé. Dramé up the right-hand touchline and then fire back towards Dylan Phillips. A minute or so to go.
That was a really nice moment there. All the Hull fans singing Rosenior, one of our own. I think that was really nice, and he was just applauding them. So a nice moment there for him.
Another yellow card is going to be shown later in the game. It's Joe Gelhardt who has caught Harto. The pair of them have been involved in a really good battle since Gelhardt came on. He just caught him there and he leant over him and tapped him on the back by way of apology. No complaints at all that the yellow card was shown his way. 5th of the campaign. Very difficult to judge Hull tonight on the strength of how they will get on for the remainder of their season. They've got 15 league games left. Next up, Queen's Park Rangers at home, then Derby at home, then Portsmouth, and then Ipswich away, which clearly is going to be one of the matches that will be critical for the remainder of their campaign. But they are currently 4th and still in with more than a puncher's chance of being able to get automatic promotion, and then the playoffs as a safety net behind them if necessary. Is Mahuka trying to find a way past the experienced McNair, who just stood his ground. And Hull have it at the back. Let's very quickly go back to Wrexham with Ipswich searching an equaliser. Steve Hollisall.
Well, it remains Wrexham 1-0 up on Ipswich. Just looking at this one, Ipswich have had so much possession in this second half, but they've just not found that final touch. It seemed like Kieran McKenna's been a little bit reluctant to actually use some of his first choice players off the bench. Athon's only just come on with 5 minutes to go in this, but Wrexham on the verge of perhaps a little piece of history. They could be in the 5th round of the FA Cup for the first time in 30 years. We've just hit the 90-minute mark. The board will be going up in a second. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
It'll be their first home winning 5 as well if they can hold on through stoppage time. Here's Achiampong, and his effort has gone into the Chelsea fans rather than the Hull net. How to play for a goal kick. We've only got a couple of 3 extra minutes left to play here. 4-0 Chelsea.
It's been a good game, a really enjoyable game. I think first half, really end-to-end, both teams going for it, both teams having big opportunities, and we talk about those key moments. Those moments that Hull will look back and think, what if Akumas had scored that one and a couple of other half chances that they created. But that's the difference, you know, and then that goal just before half-time. We talk about when you don't want to concede, that's when you don't want to concede.
And now they might have a chance right at the end. The ball flicked on, is Kumas, and it's hit the post. Sanchez beaten, diving to his right. He went for precision rather than power. He had to really stretch in to try and get to it. And Kumas has hit the left-hand post, and it's gone to safety.
He deserves that goal as well. I think he's really had a good game. Tireless running, does everything right. And to be honest, just goes for the little toe poke, and it hits the post, he's inches away. But I think Kumas, he has a bright career ahead of him. And I think if he can keep him fit, the likes of McBurney, then they've got a great chance of getting promoted.
McNair to Dramé with seconds remaining. Gelhardt making his way down the right-hand touchline. It's been played to him by Slater. Gelhardt flicking it past his nemesis Harto. Slater was in there strongly to win it back. Gelhardt across the edge of the 6-yard box. No one could get there, and Pedro Neto first to it. Should be able to get it away. There were 4 in Hull shirts inside that 6-yard box, and it didn't fall for any of them. Pedro Neto clears, and surely it's now going to end 4-0.
Yeah, and you wonder why or how he hasn't been able to pick someone out. Gelhardt's been able to have a good impact the last few minutes and drives down the right-hand side. And there's about 2 or 3 bodies in the box that he could pick out, and somehow he managed to avoid all of them. And I think it's something Hull deserved. They deserved the goal today. I think the fans deserve the goal today, but I think that's what they've been lacking. That ruthlessness in the final third hasn't been there.
One last chance for them potentially. Dramé firing it through the 6-yard box. And Kumas couldn't get on the end of that either. He will do down by the corner flag. He's played it back, and Giles get the cross in, barely time for it. He gets to the byline, stands it up towards the penalty spot. Egan attacks it, comes off his shoulder, drops into the hands of Robert Sanchez, and that's the end of the night. And to paraphrase the House Martins, it's finished Hull 0, London 4. Liam Rosenior back on his old stomping ground. Couple of goals for Pedro Neto. He might end up claiming a hat-trick because it didn't look as though Jarrell Harto got the touch that was claimed for the second Chelsea goal of the night. Esteval banged one in on the night when Liam Delap, back at his old ground, got a hat-trick of assists and also conjured up an extraordinary miss. Hull gave a really good account of themselves until the second went into their shell a little bit after that. The tame Tigers have got bigger battles ahead in the Championship, and hopes are high that they'll be playing Chelsea in the Premier League again next season. But this one in the Cup tonight has finished in favour of the Blues. Hull City 0, Chelsea 4.
Well, no problems for Chelsea this evening. They run out healthy winners. Delighted to say vast majority of these Hull City fans did stay right until the end. They were dreaming of just getting that goal against the Premier League stars. It almost happened at the death for them, but there's been warm applause, a few small boos, but I don't think their side deserve that tonight. They faced a side of real quality and potential, some great players, young Chelsea players coming off the bench tonight, and it was always going to be a difficult ask. No one wants to lose 4-0 at home, but there was a respectable performance from Hull City tonight in spite of that scoreline, and really nice to see Louis Coyle, vastly experienced Hull City man, basically through and through these days, given the hundreds of games he's played for the football club. A long time interlinked arm in arm with Liam Delap, and I'm sure there were some warm words of encouragement and congratulations for the evening's play in the hopes that Delap can continue. Oh, and then Pedro Neto gets a match ball. So are they telling us that he has got a hat-trick? In that case, congratulations, Pedro Neto. Still a little bit in doubt, but I'm sure he'll take it. He goes away to the Chelsea fans to the left-hand side of us who've made the journey up to East Riding of Yorkshire, and will go home very, very happy indeed. I guess we start with Pedro Neto and a hat-trick and a performance where really he was the real danger man for Chelsea throughout.
Yeah, he absolutely was. He found himself in lovely pockets, and he's one of those players that's a pleasure to watch, where he seems like he has all the time in the world, but that's because he's constantly scanning, taking pictures. You know, we always say that, take the picture, knows what he wants to do before the ball even gets to him, is always ahead of the game, and you know, he deserves the match ball. I think he was probably one of the standout players, and everything that Chelsea did good, he was heavily involved in.
Lovely to see a moment there, Liam Rosenior pushing the young Jesse Derry to go and celebrate in front of the Chelsea fans and savour his first appearance in that famous blue shirt as well. Rosenior applauds the Chelsea fans and gets a very warm reception indeed. The second goal, and I think this is an important moment, because you on commentary said these are the moments that Hull City are going to have to be 100% fully concentrated and going to have to ride themselves through. They don't want to give away anything silly. It ended up with Phillips making a very good save, but the resulting set piece dribbled into the back of the net and was defended really, really poorly, you have to say.
Yeah, it was, and I think that to concede just before half-time is a massive blow. I think you go in then at half-time thinking it's going to be a big ask, with probably your top goal scorer as well not being around. And they didn't come out with the response I would have hoped. You know, they were really good in the first half, but Chelsea, I don't think they had another gear second half, and I think that was a big difference. And I think when we talk about when you don't want to concede, it sounds obvious, but you don't want to concede just before half time and then just after. And Hull did that, and then you're climbing an uphill battle after that.
The third came from some lung-busting runs from Liam Delap down the right-hand side, barrelled through the Hull defence and kept his composure to find a teammate. Esteval put it into the back of the net. It was a hat-trick of assists on the night for Liam Delap. What did you make of his performance?
That was probably my favourite out of all of them, to be honest, and he did that all night, to be honest to him. He made really nice channel runs, and at times actually as a number 9, sometimes I think he drifts out into positions that he doesn't need to be, but actually tonight I think his runs were really unselfish, you know, and caused Hull a lot of problems, and especially against the back five. His timing of his runs as well then allowed his other teammates to make the runs into the box, which actually I would love to see him getting on the end of some of those. But as a number 9, you know, to get 3 assists, that's a massive bonus for him. I think to get nearly 90 minutes underneath his belt, you know, came out of it injury-free. And now it's a case of just putting the ball in the back of the net, and that will come. The more confidence he gets, that will come. So I think from what looked like a real tough night for him to start with, it actually finished off with a pretty positive night.
Very happy indeed, Liam Delap, who's still out there, the only player left now on the park, doing some interviews with TV cameras. He's coming down the tunnel. Pedro Neto, the penultimate player, with the match ball underneath his arm. A hat-trick for him. He rounded it off with, again, another composed finish for the four.
Yeah, like I said, I just think he was top in everything that he did. It's interesting to see whether he was going to be playing out wide or just in that number 10 role, and it was a really fluid, with them front four as well. They were able to interchange Garnacho as well, and I think at times it was really hard for Hull to defend, but like I said, Neto was the star player tonight, and he fully deserved that hat-trick.
He and a number of his teammates and their quality really shone through in the game. It ends up Hull City 0 at Chelsea 4. They're off into the FA Cup 5th round. Who's going to be in the hat with them? Let's head to North Wales. Wrexham taking on Ipswich Town. Steve Hothersall.
It's finished Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0. Been nearly 30 years since Wrexham have reached the 5th round of the FA Cup. They've managed it. Josh Windas's close-range finish on 34 minutes, splitting the sides. It was a finely contested battle, both teams having strong periods of possession. The margin could have been more if not for some fine saves from the Ipswich keeper, Alex Palmer. Kieran McKenna admitted it was a game that came with consequences to their promotion push. He seemed reluctant to use his first-choice players off the bench. Athon only introduced with 5 minutes to go, so it's the first of 2 head-to-heads that these teams have got in the space of 7 days here, and there'll be no second-choice sides for the Championship affair in a week's time. Wrexham progressed to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Phil Parkinson, he's having an impressive season on 2 fronts. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
Elsewhere, a little bit earlier on, Manchester City beat Leicester 6-0 in the Women's Super League to open up an 11-point lead at the top of the table. St Johnstone beat Airdrieonians by 1-0 in the Scottish Championship. They are 5 points clear at the top of the table, and the New Saints won 2-0 away at Colwyn Bay in the Cymru Premier, and that makes them 17 points clear at the top of the table, so a very dominant performance from them thus far this season. There's plenty for us still to discuss, but next up we are going to get our man of the match with McDonald's.
Man of the match on Talk Sport with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Well, we've spoken about him so much. It has to be the same player you've been eulogising about.
Yeah, it's got to be, if you score 3 goals and go away with the match ball, it's got to be Neto, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it does. That was all thanks to McDonald's.
Man of the match on Talk Sport with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m. subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Up next for Chelsea, Burnley at Stamford Bridge. For Hull, it's going to be Queen's Park Rangers at home next Saturday in the Championship. Just wanted to ask a couple of questions about both teams, really. And the first was the reception that Liam Rosenior got at the end there. There are a lot of people who have been doubting him, obviously, when he came into the football club. This initial period that he's had, I know the fixtures have gone very nicely. He's got some very good results against big clubs as well, though, particularly in the Champions League. Is this a fan base, do you feel it is warming to him and really getting behind him as manager?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's a results-based business, isn't it? And he's getting results. He's winning games, and this is what this football club wants. And I also think that the way that he's spoke as well, he's had to get results, because he's spoken quite confidently, hasn't he? And he's come out and he says that he rates himself as a manager, and he's done that. So credit to him in regards to that.
Yeah, and what about Hull now? Because obviously the focus is going to be on promotion to the Premier League. They're 4th in the Championship. They put themselves in a great position, and they're doing it, I have to say, having focused on the Championship a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. They're doing it in a kind of unusual way, because they do concede a number of goals, but they're kind of, we'll score more. We'll score 1 or 2 more than you. They've been very, very entertaining this season. How do you rate their chances of facing Chelsea next year, but maybe in the top flight?
Yeah, they're absolutely there or thereabouts. I think they have to get out of this little bit of a slump, though. That's 2 losses in a row now, no wins in the last 3, so they have to start getting back to the form that they found before that, when they were on a really good run. So that's got to come sooner rather than later. I think that the gulf is massive with regards to watching them tonight. Compared to a Chelsea, absolutely. We're talking about a top half Premier League team, by the way, so it's not you can see the impact that some of those teams that have been promoted this year, like to Sunderland, what they've been able to go and do. So I'm not saying Hull couldn't do that, but it did look a big gap tonight when you looked at the quality of players.
Okay, all right, that's rounding up our conversation about events here at the MKM Stadium, getting the FA Cup fourth round underway with a 4-0 victory for the visitors, Chelsea over Hull City. If you'd like to react to what you've seen tonight at Sports Bar coming up from 10 o'clock, you can give them a call on 03717 22 3344. And if you watch the Wrexham victory over Ipswich Town as well, what do you make of that? Jim Proudfoot still alongside myself and Natasha Dowie. Let's look ahead to some of what else we've got coming up this weekend. Remember, it's a triple header on TalkSport tomorrow of live games. We'll begin at 12:15 with Burton against West Ham. Of course, we'll have Game Day Live with Adrian Durham from 2:15. And then we'll head to Villa Park. Aston Villa taking on Newcastle. That's a 5:45 kickoff. The Newcastle boss, Eddie Howe, has been asked whether the FA Cup is his club's best chance of silverware this season.
I think we have to see it like that. I think we are here to try and win. Said so many times we loved the last year in the Carabao Cup and what that meant to everybody, what that meant to us, the experience we went through to win the competition, and we'd love to do it in any other way that we can. And that's if that's the FA Cup, then that would be a great opportunity for us. And we look at tomorrow as just an opportunity to win this game that's in front of us. We've then got, of course, a long travel midweek to back into the Champions League, but we'll worry about that when we get there. All focus and all eyes are on this game.
Well, a trip to Villa Park is not an easy one for Newcastle United. It should be an absolutely cracking game, Jim. He got an important victory, Eddie Howe, against Spurs, because it's felt at times like pressure is going to start building, and then Newcastle go on a little bit of a good run. But I know that there are some Magpies fans that have expected a lot more from Newcastle this season. If they get a long FA Cup run, if they get close to winning silverware this season, how big would that be for him?
Well, it would be absolutely huge. I mean, they haven't won the FA Cup since 1955, so I mean, if they were able to win that competition, that buys Eddie Howe, I beg your pardon, almost as much time as he could possibly want. But it has been a disappointing campaign for them. I think that there have been individuals in that team that haven't performed at quite the level that Eddie would have expected on a consistent basis, and of course there are extenuating circumstances for that with the workload. But then you have a look at these two games coming up in isolation, and it's difficult for them because the Champions League is going to be crucial. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to win the Champions League, but there are riches there if you get through that are far in excess of what you get for winning FA Cup matches. So how does he play these two games? Does he go really strong against Qarabağ and maybe make 5 or 6 changes tomorrow, believing and hoping that Unai Emery is going to make some changes and do it that way round? Or does he think, well, we're probably going to be strong enough to beat Qarabağ over 2 legs anyway, I'll go strong in the second leg, I'll go pretty strong for the Villa Cup tie, and I'll make a few changes for the match out in Baku? I mean, it's a difficult dilemma for him.
I don't want to rant again. We're talking about probably the tie of the round. I know there are a lot of good players at Premier League clubs, and you want to rest players for cup matches. I totally understand that, but surely you're going to play your strongest team if you're Eddie Howe going away to Villa Park.
No, I don't think there's any surely about it. I mean, you can say that Newcastle fans would expect it and would want it. I don't think it's guaranteed at all. I think it might be a typical FA Cup side. By that I mean that the 9 players who are on the bench for the last league game, 6 or 7 of those will start. That's what I mean by a typical FA Cup side.
I completely understand that, but it's just such a good game, you know. It's 2 great teams at their absolute best when you see them flying, and 2 fan bases that, you know, if they were to lift the FA Cup at the end of the season, it would just be massive for either one of them. And I know it would be huge too if they win their European trophies. You've got Villa in the Europa League, but for a tie that tough, you've got to go for it.
I think that's what makes this such a fascinating tie, that there are 2 massive clubs and neither of them have won the FA Cup in 69 years. Because Newcastle won it in 55, Villa won it in 57, so neither of them have won it since. So that's what makes this tie just have that extra edge. But I still think that between the 2 sides there could easily be 10 changes.
When it comes to prioritising Europe, this is the changing face of football, has been for the last, 15 or 20 years. And sides like Newcastle, when it comes to PSR and finances, they've been one of the clubs that wanted to spend a little bit more. Obviously, like Jim points out, if you go from the Champions League, you bring in more, and that means a little bit down the road you'll be able to spend more. Aston Villa in exactly the same position. for those two clubs, which is bigger this season? The FA Cup and domestic silverware. Possibly Villa will even tell you they're still in the title race in the Premier League, or that European success.
I mean, it's a great question, isn't it? I think as any player, you want to be winning trophies, and I think it's that balance now with regards to those clubs maybe that aren't used to kind of balancing the kind of European football with regards to those other clubs that are in it year in, year out. And I think Newcastle and Villa are those clubs that, you know, this is something that they're new to with regards to having to balance that. I think that realistically you fancy them more domestically to go and win some silverware, maybe rather than in Europe, in my opinion. But I think that, you know, you can't. Which one do they favour? I mean, as a player, having played the game, you want to go and win everything. I played Champions League football. I wanted to go and win that, even if I maybe knew it was going to be a bigger ask. Same with domestic football. You wanted to go and win the league and win the FA Cup. So I think it's a really tough balance. But I think probably moving forward, the squad depth is going to be the most important thing as well for those types of clubs, that they really then can go and compete in all of them.
Should be a great time. Very much looking forward to it. That's 5:45 tomorrow here on Newcastle. Straight after it, we're going to be at Anfield. Liverpool taking on Brighton. Let's hear from the Liverpool boss, Arne Slot, who's been discussing his selection issues ahead of tomorrow night's match.
I just said to Tony yesterday evening, it took me a long time before I could fall into sleep, because I was constantly considering what options I have for the lineup or what I should do. Because indeed, do you play the same players again, or the others? Is this a moment for the others? But which others, in which position? So I need another 24 hours to decide on the lineup.
Well, we know Liverpool are Liverpool, which means they're always in with a shout in the Champions League. So that's a competition which they'll feel like on their day against anyone. Second legs at Anfield, we know what those European nights are like. They'll give themselves an opportunity, but obviously some still not happy with how Arne Slot's side are playing. If he goes far, if he wins possibly the FA Cup, how much time does that buy him? Even if he doesn't win the Champions League, even if he doesn't reach maybe a Champions League qualification spot in the Premier League, would winning silverware of any description this season be enough to keep him in the job for next year?
I think it's really hard to comment. Obviously, I'm involved within the club, so for me...
Okay, Jim, what do you think?
No, but for me, I don't see the pressure, if I'm being honest, and that's from within the club, that's from the fan base, so potentially people that aren't Liverpool fans are putting more pressure on Arne Slot then, but I don't see it. You know, he's won the Premier League last year, you know, still in with the chance of potentially winning Champions League, still in the FA Cup, still in a chance of getting top four. Absolutely, you know, they have to make top four. Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't feel the pressure. Maybe Jim has a different opinion.
I think it was a very interesting comment that he made before the Sunderland game in his press conference on Tuesday, where he stopped short of drawing a parallel with Jurgen Klopp, but he made the observation that Liverpool in the past have not been a club that have relied quite as much as others on merely looking at results, that they look at extenuating circumstances, they look at progress of players, they look at the progress of a team, and that those historically have been assessed. Now, I interviewed him after the Sunderland game the other night. He was very chipper after that win, and I put that to him again and asked him whether he felt that as a result of those comments that he'd made, that he felt that progress was being there on the strength of that Sunderland win. And he said, well, I wasn't saying that it was necessarily down to my scenario. He said, I can't judge that. I don't know exactly what anyone else is thinking. He said, I was merely stating the fact that in the past, Liverpool have been a club that have tended to give managers time when some others haven't. So I think that you could look at his current situation